10 something.
Welcome everyone to the Football Addicts Anonymous podcast. Mark is back today.
Thank you, Lord.
I don't know. I thought Nate was coming on. Doesn't seem like it. He got the email invite, so I don't know. I don't. I'm not texting people, so not my job. But anyways, Chris, I don't think is going to be on today. He's got some stuff going on, but a lot of college football, a lot of
nail biters. A lot of nail biters
that went on this weekend. And yeah, let's get to it. The NFL, I don't think was as entertaining, but there was some stuff. I shouldn't say that. There was a couple games that went down to the wire and we're back and forth. But start off on Friday. And by the way, yes, I am wearing hockey gear. Pittsburgh Penguins. Season starts tomorrow.
Friday, as you can see, I'm wearing the number one team in the country.
Season starts tomorrow. Not that we're going to win. I mean, we don't have our best two players. Anyways, yes, so Friday, we had two games that we picked for our show. Number 5, Cincinnati, annihilating Temple, 52-3. And Desmond Ridder, yeah, this is what they have to do. I mean, this is why they are now number 3 or 4, whatever, 3. No, they're 3, I believe. If my phone would like to work, I can recall what the actual rankings were. But yeah, I mean, this is what they have to do. They have to blow out the AAC teams because their schedule is not that strong. If they're going to get into the playoff, exactly the kind of games they have to have against their conference opponents.
Hey, they're up in rankings, a place they've never been. I love it.
Yeah, 3. They're 3 now. Yeah. Former Georgia quarterback there, Dwan Mathis, transferred to Temple. Had himself a fun game. But, I mean, the combination Desmond Ridder, Jerome Ford, that running game is spectacular. Desmond Ridder didn't even run for much in this one because they had Desmond or Jerome Ford. And really, I don't think he's ran all that much this season in general. I think – yeah, I mean, he's only ran 33 times for 104 yards and 3 touchdowns this year. I mean, granted, he's ran less and less throughout his career.
Yeah.
Last year, he only ran 98 times. But the big thing is that he ran for 12 touchdowns, which I guess he has 3 already in 5 games. Probably not going to be on pace for 12 again, but maybe he can get 6 or 8, something like that. But anyways, yeah, I think Desmond Ridder continues. He's up there in the Heisman still. Has to be.
I agree with that 100%. And I think with him running less and less, that's a good sign for NFL scouts, right? It's that development and maturity piece.
Cincinnati covered -30 over 53. Thank you, Temple, for hitting the field goal. All right, the other game on Friday, I got wrong. Number 22, Arizona State beating Stanford 28-10. This one was Arizona State play? Where do they play at? Tempe. I thought they played in Tempe. I wasn't sure if it was Arizona or Arizona State that played in Tempe. But I was lone wolf Stanford. I thought, and again though, it's turnovers. If Tanner doesn't throw 3 picks, do they win? Maybe. One of them was a pick 6. So
I'm not even gonna lie. I don't remember who I picked. I thought maybe I had picked Stanford after the game against Oregon, but I also hesitate to ride a wagon too much because each week is different. Um, what's surprising to me in all of Arizona State's win is the quarterback play. I mean, Jaden Daniels, was touted as a chance of being a Heisman Trophy winner, and it's not like he's just world beating people right now. His legs, he did things with his legs, but he's not beating people with his passing.
Yeah, I think that's what you have with Arizona State and UCLA, both in the South, I believe, of the Pac-12. They're the same thing, pretty much, except DTR is just more experienced than Jaden Daniels is. But it's kind of the same thing, where they're better runners than throwers at this point. Even though, like I said, as much as experience DTR has for UCLA, he should be able to throw the ball very well. But
I mean, I can't agree with you more when you're looking at these stats. Look at the Stanford receiving corps, and you just look at those 3 interceptions. If you don't have them, you win the game.
Yeah, Stanford was -2 in turnovers, but otherwise they were pretty even. Except rushing. They were terrible.
Yeah, dominated.
Granted, that goes the thing about college rushing stats is that sacks count for rushing yards. So that's why Stanford only had 13 total rushing yards to 255 for Arizona State. Yeah. 13. And yeah. Anyways, we didn't do a defensive guy for the first one, but defensively here, I'm doing DeAndre Pierce. And it's interesting because he scored a touchdown on defense, but he did not have a turnover. It was Jack Jones that picked it off and then lateraled it to DeAndre Pierce for the pick 6. I don't understand how it's still called a pick 6. I guess because it's the same play. It's just 2 different people touching the ball.
Yeah.
That's what, I don't know. Anyways, yeah. That was interesting play there. Arizona State covered -13.5, under 54. Saturday, Red River rivalry. Number 6, Oklahoma beating number 21, Texas, 55-48. And
where do you want to start?
Dude, I lone wolf Texas, and I was all about it. And they really should have won. I personally think that Sark took his foot off the gas, started running the ball too much when they were having success with Casey Thompson and throwing it. I don't know.
I agree with you because I've been a Georgia fan and I know what that looks like against Alabama in more than one game. I just say keep your foot down. You have to score to beat your rivalry and to overcome, what may happen in the game plan changes. And Riley, he changed. Oklahoma looked like a different team under center with Caleb Williams. I actually, my family lives, some of them live in Oklahoma, big OU fans. They were texting me, are you watching this? The team doesn't trust Spencer Rattler. He's not the leader that we need. And they reeled off the most points in red comeback history in the Red River rivalry. And I mean, I thought, Sarkisian Steve said it right. After he didn't shy away from letting them back into the game, but I thought you lone wolf this one and was running away with it. I was like, well, there's a loss in the loss column.
It was 28-7. at one point early on. That was the first quarter, I believe, that it was 28-7. Texas was just rolling. Yes, that was the end of the first quarter. Ended up 38-20 at halftime, 41-30 after the third quarter. And it's just, I was shocked when Kennedy Brooks took the last touchdown, and everyone was. I mean, it was just no one expected. I understand. I don't know if it actually was a thing that Texas let him score. It didn't seem like it. It would have made sense to let him score, though.
Yeah, you have more time on the clock
To get the ball back because they already had no timeouts. But yeah, I mean, this automatically ends Spencer Rattler. He's done. There's no chance. No chance he plays again this year unless Caleb Williams gets hurt.
A few takeaways besides just this phenomenal game to watch. You know, Bijan got all the hype on ESPN the next day, if you watch anything, or every news outlet. And he should. I mean, he was doing things that you saw, you know, Ricky Williams do. But Kennedy Brooks had himself a day, man. And he really is what opened up the success of Caleb Williams. And I agree with you. I just don't know how you go back to Spencer Rattler. And Lincoln Riley didn't say one or the other, which, I mean, you're going to do that preparing for games so that maybe coaches prepare for both. But I don't know how you get it back. And the one thing about OU that was supposed to be better that isn't better is the defense this year. Because my defensive player is Luke Brockmeyer. And not only because of the stats there, but watching the game, he was just everywhere. It felt like he had more than 12 tackles and 6 solos and 1 pass deflection.
My guy is DeMarvion Overshown. I put him on the board because of this game and because I've seen him before as well. He's shown up on the show. He was literally everywhere. Regardless of the 8 tackles, I mean, he was in the backfield, sacked, 2 tackles lost. He rushed Spencer Rattler a couple times, recovered a fumble. He also blocked the kick that led to Texas's third score. And yeah, I mean, he was just a dominant force. And then when you go to the guy beneath him, Nick Benito, he didn't show up until the second half, really. But Nick Benito is an absolute killer of a pass rusher. And he was making Casey Thompson have to throw it earlier than he wanted to. The thing that makes me mad about Oklahoma is that they should have 1, maybe even 2 losses at this point in the season. They've been squeaking by, and they did again in this one. And I know people are going to say a win's a win, and they're 6-0. It doesn't matter. I think it does because you think Oklahoma, if they would go into the college football playoff right now and go play Georgia in the semifinal game, how's that going to work? For one, regardless of who the quarterback is, Caleb Williams, Spencer Rattler, they're going to get destroyed. Oklahoma's line can't hold up. And yeah, it would not be pretty. And I don't think Oklahoma's a college football playoff candidate, but that's a discussion for later in the season when that rankings come out. But looking at Oklahoma's schedule, they don't have anyone. There's literally no one left. It's maybe they struggle. Maybe they lose at Baylor. That's the only one until the what's it called? Oklahoma State. What's that called?
Well, the
Bedlam, right?
Bedlam. And in their conference championship.
Yeah. Which at this point it would be Oklahoma State in the championship anyways. So they could possibly play each other back to back.
I feel like Oklahoma's going to eventually, not have, the 9 lives like a cat, right? If that happens, I totally see 2 SEC teams and 2 Big Ten teams battling it out in the college football playoff. And I know Oregon only has one loss, and they can go to the Pac-12, but the Big Ten right now, folks, hear me out, and the SEC are head and shoulders above every conference. It's not even close.
See, I wouldn't say the SEC as a whole.
No, but the top teams, like the SEC East, juggernaut.
I think this is the best I've seen the Big Ten in about 5 years. Because like 5 years ago, this is how it was. Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan, Michigan State. Those four, and then you had Wisconsin, but this time it's Iowa. I mean, Iowa has always been there, but this time it's Iowa instead of Wisconsin this year in the West.
Right.
But yeah, Oklahoma, even if they win out, they still got to go to Oklahoma State to play the Bedlam game. And then, like you said, they had the Big 12 championship game, which at this point would be Oklahoma State as well. So they also do have to play Iowa State, but that's in Norman, and Iowa State hasn't done that well. So Oklahoma covered -4 over 66 easily. That was a big one too. I know I had Texas +3.5 in a parlay. A lot of people had Texas +4. Kennedy Brooks just crushing dreams out here. But yeah, Xavier Worthy as well. I mean, monster day. 261, 9 receptions, 2 touchdowns. We took a lot of time on that game.
But that was a lot to unpack, man. You don't see those.
Yeah. There's a couple other ones we got to talk about like that. Actually, one that's coming up in 3 games. Number 7, Ohio State, rolling over Maryland 66-17 at the shoe. Yeah. CJ Stroud again. I mean, dominating. Knew that was going to happen. Yeah.
All I know is I don't want to jump to conclusions because Maryland's had 2 bad weekends in a row. But this is the Ohio State team I thought we would see, all year long. And sometimes when you lose, it makes you go to the drawing board. It makes you throw everything out and redo things. But their offense is coming to life, and their defense is getting a little bit better. Does that mean that they're not going to lose another game? But I wouldn't be surprised if they go through the rest of their schedule and give everybody a fit, maybe win some games like Oklahoma, and then you set up that Michigan rivalry, right? Because they still have to play your Penn State and Nittany Lions, I believe. That doesn't mean they're going to win that, or they're going to win that game. But I could see them beating Michigan and everybody going, what the heck? This was our year. Michigan was starting to really put everything together.
Yeah, we'll talk about Michigan for sure in a little bit. Yeah, but again, we knew this was kind of going to be the case of this game, especially because it was at Ohio State. Yeah. Talia's got to stop throwing interceptions. I will say that, though.
The minute that you said, I'm totally on his bandwagon, he's figured it out. He goes and throws 5. And then this week.
Well,
and I was on it too, and he just has to take care of the ball.
Yeah. It has severely hurt him and the rest of the receivers that Dante Demas got injured. That was very detrimental to the team as a whole. Defensively, let's go Craig Young, 70-yard pick six.
Oh.
Ohio State covered -21.5 over 72. Big one. Number 11, Michigan State beating Rutgers 31-13 in Jersey. Peyton Thorne, another great game for him. And Kenneth Walker over 200 yards once again. I mean, that man's unstoppable, dude. He is quite the beast that the Spartans have.
What does this Michigan State team remind you of?
2015 Big Ten Championship, Michigan State?
Yeah, a little bit of Kirby Smart's first year at Georgia. Just suffocating defense, going to establish the run game, and your quarterback is going to play off of that.
Kirk Cousins, Michigan State. that was in 2015, but
I think they're really solid fundamentally, and they're really well coached. That doesn't mean that they're unbeatable. They're gonna have some tough tests, but I like this team.
Well, yeah, they still got to play the rest of the big three, or the rest of the big four in the East. Ohio State, and Penn State.
I don't think they'll come undefeated out of that, but he's doing a really good job up there, Mel Tucker.
I think Greg Schiano's doing a good job too.
He is.
Being 3-3 with Rutgers right now, I think is pretty decent.
They are not walkovers. You're not scheduling them for homecoming anymore. It's more like Nebraska.
They have something. Isaiah Pacheco is a good back. I think they need to upgrade, get a better quarterback than Noah Vedral. But that's going to be tough to get a top quarterback to come to Rutgers. So
for me, I think that's a position you get on transfer. Whether that's another Power 5, whether that's a
who do you think? Spencer Rattler to Rutgers. We're starting the rumor mill.
Let's do it.
I think he can have some fun in Jersey.
FCS, quarterback. So,
yeah. Olakunle Fatukasi, pretty good day there. And my guy I'm actually picking, though, is Simeon Barrow for Michigan State, though. 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss. Sparty covered -4, under 50 by 2. Or why did I say by 2? It was by 4. By 6. I don't know what the hell I'm doing right now.
You had your first law test. It's okay.
All right. I swear I wasn't drinking today.
I'm not either. It's Apple.
SEC, what a game. Number 17, Ole Miss, beating number 13, Arkansas in a barn burner. And I was disappointed. I got a live bet. Someone shot me a live bet in the first half, under 63.5. Yeah, I went out real quick in the third quarter. I didn't expect Arkansas to be able to do that. I didn't expect them to be able to keep up with Ole Miss. I thought Ole Miss is, like I said on Friday, I said 45-14. I just didn't think that Arkansas could keep up, like I said.
I thought that you said 45-14. I wasn't on Friday for another reason I wish I didn't have to go through. Love you, Blanca. But I thought it was going to be 38-14. So right around, or 38-17, right around where you were. But the quarterback play is all I want to talk about. I mean, there's with these stats, you're going to have defensive stats. But, man, Ole Miss beat you by 1 point. But KJ Jefferson did everything he could do to win, to put Arkansas in the position to win.
Except one thing.
I mean, but if you're
that wasn't the thing I was talking about, but keep going.
If you have the ball in your hands that many times and you come out with one turnover, I'm not even mad at you for that. Does that make sense? Because no one in the world is perfect. And so if I'm asking you to do this, you put all of us in the position to win. And the running back for Mississippi, I mean, the run game just made Coral does not have to do as much as KJ Jefferson. And then the last thing, whether you like him or not, Lane Kiffin is a pretty funny guy. Like, he admitted to saying the stupidest thing against Alabama. And then at the very end of his interview, he was like, okay, now we can go cook popcorn and eat it because we won by 1. And that's about the only positive thing in this game.
Yeah, the one thing I was going to say that KJ Jefferson didn't get right was the last play of the game. Like, granted, that was not his fault. Yeah. That was and I've heard this multiple times from people breaking down the game on TV. That was the stupidest play call you could ever have, to roll out to the right. And I believe they put the ball on the right hash too. So you're rolling to the short side of the field. Yep. 2 receivers, yeah, but and I don't agree with what KJ did either. I don't understand why throw the ball. They're covered. Even if they're covered, throw it anyways. I mean, you don't have anything to lose. You're going to lose regardless if you throw it out of bounds or if you throw it into coverage. But run the ball, dude. You're massive. I mean, that guy's like 250 pounds.
So a couple drawbacks, now that you brought that up, it brought me a flashback of Kirby Smart's first few years playing a better team or an equal team and wondering what is going on with the offensive play call. And I mean, it falls on Sam Pittman because you are the head coach. And I know that he has just made his living by being an offensive line coach. Arkansas loves him. I love him for many reasons, his community involvement, the way that he treats his players. But he had full faith in his offensive coordinator. I believe the OC called that play. And I'm with you. I don't like the side of the field that they used, but it gave the option for KJ to do multiple things, and I'm with you. I think he should have just ran it.
Yeah. Again, risk reward. There's no risk. You're going to lose either way.
But from an analysis standpoint, you, myself, everybody on TV, why box yourself in on the short side of the field? Why not open it up? Why not use the bigger side of the field? Why not get, you had two receivers, but why not get your tight end involved? Whatever it may be.
I think granted, I was concerned of going for it in the first place. I understand why. I mean, it happens all the time where people are down by one, like, no, we're going to win the game. But I didn't think Arkansas necessarily had the momentum to do that, because usually when you do that, you're rolling. Right. You have come back from a substantial amount. Now, Arkansas kind of did, but it just didn't feel right to me. It's kind of one of those gut feelings where, no, we're going to kick the extra point. We're going to go to overtime. We can get it done in overtime. We're playing the Heisman Trophy favorite, but, not everyone's perfect. So we can force him into a mistake in a 25-yard field.
The only way I agree with that, because here's my take on that. The only way that we go for two is if, as a coach, I say, what do you guys want to do? And they say, we're going for two. But then I'm asking your input. What type of play do we want to run? What's been work like? That's being a player's coach. And then also having the best teams I've been a part of, state championship-wise, college-wise, is player-led teams. Hey, coach, we're going for two. And we know the play that we love in the two-point conversion because we practice it. But after last week and getting just beat down by Georgia, I personally would have said, boys, I think we kick this and let's play it in overtime and see what happens.
Yeah. Especially with no time on the clock. You know that Ole Miss can't go down and score and beat you in regulation. So it's like, I don't know. I think the best play call in my mind as an offensive coordinator, spread it out, 5 wide, QB draw up the middle, 5-on-5. You're going to win. So
you know where I saw that a lot of? The Bengals coming back against the Packers, but that's down the road.
Arkansas did cover, though. +5. Over 67 easy. Number 20, Florida, shutting out Vandy. 42-0.
Next game.
In the swamp. Yeah, the guys in our locks group chat for betting, they're like, Vandy, automatic cover. That's anyone that plays Vandy, we're automatically laying the points from here on out.
If we had locks, if we did locks and dogs in college football, I'm pretty sure in SEC play, Vanderbilt would be a really good lock.
Yeah. Emory Jones, 4 touchdowns there. Richardson didn't do much coming in. I think this was his first game back. I don't think he played against Kentucky. But yeah, they really didn't run the ball much, Florida, but it didn't matter. How many they had a lot of turnovers, didn't they? Didn't they get a lot of turnovers here? Or no, they didn't actually. It was actually even. 2-2. 2-2.
I didn't watch. I shouldn't have said yes.
Yeah, I really don't know how Florida destroyed them that badly. I mean, doesn't
I
look
guess
terrible.
place.
It really doesn't look terrible when you look at the team stats. Vandy actually held the ball for 13 more minutes. Actually, 12.
They just never found themselves in the red zone.
Yeah. I mean, it was 8 of 20 on third down. But Florida was only 2 for 9, but they were 3 for 3 on fourth down. Same amount of first downs. But, I mean, Florida had almost 200 yards more than Vandy did. So, I don't know. I didn't watch it either because why would you?
Ricky Wright tried to do as much as he could. 6 tackles, 3 solo, 2 tackles for a loss, 2 quarterback hurries.
Yeah. I think that's my guy too. 15 tackles for Rashad Torrance, though.
Oh.
Florida did cover. They did cover. Minus 39. And under 60. Big 12. Baylor.
I don't even know who I picked on this one.
Baylor in West Virginia, 45-20. I lone wolfed West Virginia. Or no, Chris lone wolfed Baylor, I believe. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he lone wolfed Baylor.
I would have to go back and look, but
yeah.
Yeah, I believe Chris lone wolfed Baylor. I just thought West Virginia, West Virginia, I thought was playing well. And, they did that thing to Oklahoma where they barely lost. It was at Baylor, but I don't know. I guess I shouldn't have picked West Virginia coming off a 3-point loss to Texas Tech, but Baylor just lost to Oklahoma State. I don't know.
The one team that I honestly, in the Big 12, I've seen Oklahoma State play. I saw West Virginia play Maryland. I don't like their record, but I thought they were competitive. I just haven't seen Baylor. And I know they had that one big game against Iowa State, but.
Yeah. Again, they've lost to the hardest person that they played so far in Oklahoma State, as far as ranking-wise go. Technically, I guess you could say they beat Iowa State when they were ranked, but whatever. I mean, Jerry Bohannon, he's proved me wrong. I still am saying I have no clue who Jerry Bohannon is, but I mean, he's scoring 5 total touchdowns, not turning the ball over. So, sure, let's keep it going, Baylor. Why not? I might actually pick Baylor for the first time next week, maybe. They're hosting BYU, so maybe not. Baylor is favored though by 6, but we'll talk about BYU's loss in a couple seconds. Tyquan Thornton for Baylor had a great game, 8 for 187, 2 touchdowns. I think the biggest issue, West Virginia couldn't get Letty Brown going. And I think that's the key to their success is Letty Brown getting going, having the play action with Jarrett Deggy. Defensively, I'm going with Siaki Ika for Baylor. 3 tackles, 2 solos, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss.
I have to go linebacker Terrell Bernard, 9 tackles, 9 solo, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss. And, he was stopping Letty from getting out in space.
Baylor covered -1, low one there, and over 45 because of West Virginia.
This weekend, I believe.
What'd you say?
I think Chris had himself quite the college football picks this weekend.
Maybe. We'll see on Friday. Best team in the nation, number 2, Georgia, beating number 18, Auburn in Alabama, 34-10. Stetson continues to light it up. Georgia run game as well has been on fire. And Ladd McConkey has came out of nowhere to be a consistent deep threat. I mean, where's the kid coming from?
I had no idea who he was coming into the season. Like, zero idea. Love the name. Few takeaways from this game. The opening drive for Auburn was, if I'm Alabama, Florida, Kentucky this weekend, I'm going, what the heck were they doing? What was the pace? What were the play? I mean, they were RPOs. Nix was making some good reads, and he's still on foot, gave us some headaches. And I just was looking at Charlotte and some people we had over at the tailgate at our house, and I was like, oh, man, this is a game where we forget to get off the bus, and I was all mad. And people were like, calm down. It's a darn first drive. And I'm like, you just got to know me. Like, I'm real intense, and we settled down. But it's still a game like, if we're playing Alabama, do you win it? Because what are the few instances where we ran away with it? The deep ball, Smoke Monday getting a targeting hit, Ladd McConkey didn't have anything before that. And so we can dissect it in a lot of ways, but I'm telling you, our defense is junkyard and worth every penny if you can come watch us live. I still think we need JT Daniels, he's your Heisman Trophy winner, to win a national championship.
He won't be the Heisman Trophy winner, not missing as many games he did,
unfortunately. We need him to win a national championship.
Yeah. And that's the biggest conversation out of Athens right now. Is there a quarterback issue?
There's
many people are saying no. It's JT Daniels still. And they have to agree. It's Stetson. It's a great run he's on. But when you get to Alabama, you have to have JT Daniels.
I love his legs, and he's able to make some things that – but my thing is JT doesn't have to because of the way he reads defenses. He's taller. I worry about JT Daniels' height, and people laugh at me Stetson's. But you saw what Alabama did to him at Alabama last year. Like, you can't see over the line when someone's 6'4" and putting their big paw up.
Yeah.
And the one thing that worries me about our run game, and most people would laugh at this, is, yeah, we could have a lot of backs, but we haven't allowed one back to get into a groove. Tell me when Derrick Henry or Richardson, or name another one at Alabama or anywhere that had to share as much time, they're not able to get into grooves. Like, you need 1 and 2 back. And then your 3 and 4 is if it's not working, you have your power and your change of pace. But we have 4 guys that are sharing touches, and none of them are getting into a groove, which we don't need to right now. But you're going to have to develop a hierarchy in the running back room. That's just my opinion.
I think that's what you've seen the last two games, though. They've kind of shut the passing game down in the second half, let the backs work. And, Zeus got 18 in this one, so
this is a power beast.
I think if they cut out McIntosh and Milton, I think they'd be perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Cook and White would be fine just together. Milton's a nice change of pace, but I don't think McIntosh even got that many carries in this one. But
I think we did. We got to give credit. I've been critical. Just, you got to know, people, anyone that listens, when someone's critical, I want that trophy, that national championship. I'm not worried about all this other things and we need to prepare to be the best and get everything ready. But I was worried coming into this game. Tank Bisbee's got some wheels, and I thought we defended really nice on him.
Okay. Defensively, I'm going Trayvon Walker. Sack, tackle, loss, 3 QB hurries.
I mean, I'd have to agree.
Georgia covered.
I'd like to be an antagonist, but Quay Walker had himself a game too as well.
Georgia covered minus 14.5, under 46, and I hit on this one. Georgia minus 6.5 in the second half. Good wager there. Not that it mattered on my overall weekend, but all right. Top 10 down. Boise State went into Provo and beat number 10 BYU 26-17. And this is another one where it was like, well, how did they lose? Well, it was turnovers. Jaron Hall threw a pick. Algier fumbled. Lupini Katoa put the ball on the ground twice in 4 carries. And it was just a really crappy day for the Cougars. And crappy day, I live bet them to come back and win because I was like, there's no way BYU is going to lose this. They're at home. I mean, and the defense of Boise State, and I should take my statements back from possibly, but I mean, I still stick to it. It's not your dad's Boise State team where they throw it around a bunch. That's not how they are. Hank Bachmeier is not that guy. To use the social media, you're not that guy. But he really got bolstered by the running game of Cyrus Habibi-Likio and Andrew Van Buren in this one, and the defense giving them short fields all day. So, yeah.
I just kept watching this going, okay, you're on the runway, BYU. Let's take off. And like you said, turnovers, penalties, and it just didn't take flight, and Boise State won.
Oh, God, dude. The penalties were absolutely ridiculous. I mean, it was if I can get the exact stats here, I can tell you. 9 for 75.
God.
Penalties. 4 turnovers, -4. Yeah. And that's the thing, like I said, BYU's defense, I thought, played well, only letting up 26. That's a manageable point differential or points given up to be able to win in college football, giving up only 26. So, especially with the guys that they have on offense for BYU. Like I said, I still love Algier, Gunnar Romney, his older brother, Samson Nasua, is on here for scoring a touchdown, but his older brother, Puka Nasua,
right.
Neil Pauwu. I mean, they have the guys. It's just turnovers killed them today. And that was an interesting thing they were saying about this quarterback situation too. When I was watching the game, they're like, well, people might say that they would have been better leaving Baylor Romney in, but I tend to agree with what the announcer said. That Jaron Hall is the best quarterback to lead BYU right now. Just had an off day. So, and like I said, he only accounted for 1 turnover. So, it wasn't all the top 2 running backs had 3 fumbles combined. So that's not something you usually see from Algier. Katoa, I don't think has been healthy all year, and that's why Algier's been getting all the carries. But half your carries being fumbles is not a good look.
No, that's not going to be a recipe for success.
Khalil Shakir, he got on the board this weekend as well. 5 receptions, 66 yards, and a spectacular catch he had pulling a Randy Moss on one of the BYU defenders.
Oh, yeah, that was nice.
Defensively, I don't know. I'm going to go with the guy that filled the stat sheet the most, Pepe Tenuvasa for the Cougs. 4 tackles, solo, sack, tuck floss, QB. Hurry.
Got to go with Ben Bywater in a losing effort. 14 tackles, 6 solo, 1 tackle for loss, 1 quarterback hurry. He tried to win that ball game.
I knew you were going to go there. Boise State cover +6, under 58. ACC overtime matchup in the Dome. Number 19, Wake Forest, undefeated Demon Deacons.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, in ACC, 40-37 overtime win. Like I said, at the Carrier Dome in Syracuse. Sam Hartman, I mean, he is playing out of his mind right now. Him and A.T. Perry, I mean, that's that line for A.T. Perry, 3 for 137. All 3 of his receptions being touchdowns. Ridiculous as well. And Syracuse has something, though. I think Syracuse next season, they'll be there. If their defense continues, Garrett Schrader, all he has to do is improve his passing because he already has running. I mean, the man ran for almost 30 times as a quarterback for 178 yards and a touchdown. And Sean Tucker on the ground has been spectacular all year for the Orange. So Wake Forest is just for real, I guess.
I mean, they are tough in the Carrier Dome. We always talked about that, but I think this wasn't in the Carrier Dome, was it?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, well. So that's what I was hesitant to pick Wake Forest, but I did pick them. And, I mean, to break down this game, it was back and forth. It was fun. The catch to win it. All I have to say, though, is who thought in their right mind, I want to know somebody in America that actually follows football and doesn't just like Wake Forest or their mascot, thought they would be 6-0 at this point. I want to shake your hand, please.
Yeah, it's setting up pretty well for Wake Forest right now at the halfway point of the season. 4-0 in ACC play. They the only other undefeated team in the Atlantic Division is NC State, and they only have 1 win in ACC. They're just 1-0. I would say, though, to not count Clemson out right now. I know they're terrible, but they're still technically only 1 game back. They're 2-1 in ACC play. I'm just saying. Dabo might Dabo. And,
you got to find a lot of
and Wake has to go to South Carolina.
Somewhere.
Wake's got to go to Clemson, second to last week of the season.
I bet you if they're undefeated, I would be willing to bet on Clemson.
I mean, they got to play NC State the week before that. That's tough. That is.
Do I think Wake Forest is going to go undefeated in ACC play? No.
Yeah.
If they do, are they worthy of a national championship? I think the committee wouldn't vote them in. People have to remember what the committee is made for. And would that garner a bunch of fans and a bunch of money? Or would people go, where's Wake Forest? What the heck? I thought they were dumpster fires in the ACC. It just wouldn't.
Yeah, I don't think they're going undefeated either, considering what 5 of their last 6 games. Their last 6 games at Army. That's the first thing. That's tough, to say the least. Army's 4-1. They host Duke, so we're not gonna. If it was at Duke, maybe it's a trap game situation, but it's at Wake Forest, so I'm not worried about that. They gotta go to North Carolina, which we know they have not been that great this year either. But Sam Howell is Sam Howell, so
score points.
And then the 2 big ones, like I said, they host NC State. That should be a ranked matchup. I don't know what NC State's schedule looks like, but they're 4-1 right now. Go to Clemson, like I said. Who knows? And then they finish up at Boston College, who's also 4-1 at this point.
Right.
Like I said, 5 of the last 6 games, no team is below 500. Duke is even 3-3. So, yeah, it's not easy. That's for sure. the path for Wake Forest. But starts this weekend at Army. All I got to do is go to West Point and win. Easier said than done, right, Mark?
Easier said than done.
But anyways, Syracuse covered +6 over 59, 77 points. Number 24, SMU. They are undefeated as well. The only other undefeated team in the American Conference. 31-24 squeaker against Navy. This one was in Annapolis, I believe. Yes, in Annapolis. And I was disappointed, man. Tanner Mordecai only threw 2 touchdowns. He was averaging 4 per game.
It was a one-score game.
Yeah, he was averaging 4 per game, was the leader in touchdowns in the nation. I don't know if he is anymore. Let's see. Why do they? Okay. I don't understand why it only has passing yards when you click the little stat thing. Yes, he is still the leader in touchdowns in the nation. 26 through 6 games. My favorite quarterback of all time, Bailey Zappi, in second at 21. But anyways, yeah, I was surprised. I was surprised Navy kept it this close. They did a good job, only allowing SMU to score 31. And yeah, I mean, what was weird is that Navy's run game really wasn't that effective when you look at their top. I guess it was just a bunch of guys got carries and, quarterback Lavatai had 53 yards. Warren had 30. Yeah, I mean it was weird. Turnovers. That's why.
Navy is a shell of what they built a few years ago, but that's my argument on service schools. They're almost like high schools. You don't often get to replenish year after year, and you have to wait for them to develop. But I got to go in a losing effort to Diego, my man. 7 tackles, 5 solo, half a tackle for loss, 1 fumble recovery, 1 touchdown for 20 yards.
Yeah, Diego Fago has been the best Navy defender all season. The few Navy games we've had, he's been on the schedule, and just watching a little bit of Navy, Fago has shined almost every time you put Navy on. But yeah, Brian Massey there for SMU, big 95-yard kick return touchdown as well. And yeah, team stats wise, I mean, they were terrible on third down. SMU 2 for 11, 7 of 17 for Navy. The biggest thing was, I mean, obviously the passing yards were big difference, and the rushing yards were actually a big difference as well. About 97 more yards rushing for Navy, but they were only averaging 3.3 per carry on 53 attempts. Also, biggest thing, team stats wise, I saw Navy was +2 in turnover differential, but they only had 12 first downs the entire game. So
right.
Yeah. Navy did cover +13.5, under 57 by 2. Liberty rolling mid Tennessee 41-13, and Malik Willis struggled, 3 picks. I'd have to think Malik Willis is most definitely not in the Heisman conversation anymore. Did get help on the ground from Joshua Mack with 91 yards. TJ Green also chipped in a touchdown. And I felt bad for Chase Cunningham because he had to do it by himself. As you can see, the leading rusher for mid-Tennessee Chatton Mobley, only 8 yards. So, yeah.
There's that Liberty team that we know. They find, they've got the one finish, but they're still a tough team to play.
Right.
I think I picked against them against UAB. I shouldn't have.
That was a fun one.
They were opening up a new stadium, so I was just rolling with UAB. But
yeah, competition. Liberty is definitely not what they were last year. That's for sure. Demario Douglas, 156 yards, 6 catches and a touchdown for the Flames. Defensively, you're going to go with the guy that has the most tackles. I am going to go with Henry Chibueze, though. I'm not sure if that's how you say it, because he had a safety. That's the only reason.
I mean,
otherwise, I'd go with Story Jackson, who has made my board as well. I put 5 guys on the board this weekend, dude. That's a lot.
You can't go wrong with a safety, but I mean, I'd have to go with Story as well. I mean, 1 pass deflection, 3 quarterback hurries, 4 tackles, 2 solo. And I like guys in losing efforts. I mean, Jordan Ferguson, he tried 3 tackles, 2 solo, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for a loss. But, I mean, it could be when the game's, out of reach as well. So,
Story Jackson, he has a great name for one. But also, again, he's another guy that every time we've had Liberty on the slate, he showed up. So, Liberty covered -20, under 59. Close. Maction, Ball State, Illinois, Michigan, 45-20. Drew Plitt, 310, 4 TDs, no turnovers.
We were all in Western Michigan. So, I hate to see this. I like to win ball games, but you said it, Drew, with 4 TDs.
Yeah, I thought this was going to be a very even matchup. Both quarterbacks pretty decent. Drew Plitt has a lot of experience. He's been at Ball State. I believe he's a senior and 4th year as a starter. Caleb Ellaby is a little bit younger, but he has starting experience as well, starting the entire season last year, and I believe the year before that as well. Yeah, I mean, Johines did it. That's another great name in college football, Johines Tyler. But yeah, the Cardinals just getting it done.
I mean, you look at our stat sheets, and Ball State just dominated it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got Brett Anderson with 2 tackles, both solo, 1 pass deflection, 1 fumble recovery, 1 touchdown for 18 yards. I mean, you look at every defensive stat. You got they dominated this football game.
Yes, yeah, I'm getting an update on Kenny Galladay's injury here. But yeah, Brett Anderson was the guy I was going to pick. But also, I know Chris loves the pass deflections for the DBs. So Dorian Jackson, Western Michigan, 4 pass deflections for you, Chris. Ball State plus 12.5, big underdog win, over 58. Biggest game of the weekend. Number 3, Iowa, undefeated at home in Kinnick Stadium, 23-20 over number 4, Penn State.
Yeah.
And I'm going to finish writing. You can go first, because I'm going to finish writing this Kenny Galladay thing down, and then I'm going to rant. So
all I can say is both Chris and I picked Iowa, and I'll tell you why. I believe this is an evenly matched team. But I think Iowa's defense is the real deal. And that's not taking anything away from Penn State. And in saying that, they got help with Clifford getting, banged out of the game, but he still had 2 interceptions when he was in there. and they were tough enough to knock him out of the game. And that's the difference to me without him in Iowa winning this ball game. And I talked to a friend that's besides you that lives in Wisconsin, that's a Wisconsin fan and Milwaukee Bucks fan and Brewers fan. And I said, Iowa's going to be number 2 in the nation, which they are. And he goes, there's no way. And I said, you have in my mind, the 2 best defenses in the nation at 1 and 2. That doesn't mean they both finish 1 and 2 at the end of the season. That doesn't even mean either one of them gets out of their conference without a loss. But I didn't think Iowa was the real deal because I don't believe in their quarterback, but yet I believe in their defense.
All right. So I had a lot of people contact me after the game, even before the game as well, when I posted on my Snapchat story that I was watching the game, that I was wearing my Penn State stuff. And people disagree with me, but I don't care. I don't give a shit. Penn State does not lose this game if Sean Clifford if he plays the second half. If he plays the entire game, I don't care what you say, Penn State doesn't lose. Yeah, he threw 2 interceptions.
They had the lead. They had the lead when he was in there.
Yeah, he threw 2 interceptions. They were rolling. They didn't just have the lead. They were rolling. They were up 17-7. And Iowa's offense had no answer for Penn State's defense. They figured it out in the second half. But
what was the score?
Look at the second half.
What's the score going into halftime? Was it 17-7 or was it 27?
It was 17-10.
That's only 1 touchdown, and that's where I disagree.
Actually, it was 17-3. My bad. 17-3 with 12 and a half to go in the second quarter. 17-3. They were rolling.
They were rolling.
After the first play of their offense got a turnover, and they held Iowa to a field goal inside their own 10-yard line.
I would go down to the third down deficiency. Iowa still wins that ball game. They still make Sean Clifford turn it over 2 times. And if he's in the ball game, we don't know what adjustments they make at halftime. I felt that they were rolling, and I almost chalked it up as a loss. But what do good defenses do? They get to the quarterback. They got to him. And I know that you have pride and belief in Penn State, but Iowa's defense is that physical and that tough. I think they have the most takeaways in the nation up to this point. And who says that Sean Clifford doesn't have another 2 interceptions in the second half? Not saying he will either.
I'm just saying they had the offense, and it was a significant drop-off to a freshman, or not a freshman. I think he's a true sophomore, Taquan Roberson. Significant drop-off in the knowledge of the offense.
I'm not going to take anything away from that. And I would add that Iowa is truly one solid quarterback away from being a solidified college football playoff team and running through the Big Ten. But I just don't trust their quarterback. I don't. And so how many times do you have to lean on your defense? I've seen it at Georgia, and it hasn't been successful since 1980, which we had some other players at that time win us a national championship. But you can't solely rely on your defense in today's college football.
I still think that this is your rematch right here. This is your rematch. Big Ten championship, Iowa, Penn State in Indianapolis in 7 weeks. Because as much as Ohio State is rolling on offense, they haven't played a defense like Penn State yet. Same thing goes with Michigan State. Same thing goes with Michigan. None of those teams have played Penn State yet. They haven't even played each other. We're getting to the meat here. Michigan State coming up, Michigan, Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, Michigan State, Penn State, Michigan State, Ohio State, Penn State. 4 weeks, 5 weeks is going to be ridiculous with the amount of matchups that we have in the Big Ten East.
I would like to see this matchup, and we've talked about having a podcast. I'm going to disagree with you that this is the same matchup. I think we see one of these teams, and right now I can't tell you which one. I think Sean Clifford's injury will dictate that.
Oh, yeah.
But I will say this is the best conference to watch until the end. Does that make sense? I still think Alabama and Georgia are on a collision course to meet each other in the SEC championship, if that makes sense. Even if maybe they both have 1 losses. I don't know. I still think they find a way to play each other, but I have no idea what the Big Ten is going to look like in the next 4 or 5 weeks. And I think that is the interest. When people say, if you're not on the road, calling a game or talking about Georgia or watching them, I'm at home watching the Big Ten.
You know what the best thing about Penn State is right now? And Sean Clifford's injury? They have a bye week this week. Then they host Illinois. So, whatever. And then it's the big one. Then they go to the Shoe to play at Ohio State. That will, I don't want to say presumably will be a night game because we've seen how screwed up the TV schedules have been this year with top ranked matchups being.
Why so many noon games? My gosh, so many noon games.
Luckily this one was at 4:00 Eastern. So it was afternoon at least, but yeah. And then, they had to go to College Park, which we've seen Maryland, how they have deteriorated.
Yeah.
That's what I like about their schedule, though. They're not facing the big guns back to back. They have a game in between Ohio State, Michigan, and Michigan State. They host Rutgers in between Michigan and Michigan State. So that's what I like about their schedule. That's why I think they have a great chance. And like I said, the bye week this week to get Clifford 2 weeks worth of health going into the Illinois game and having Illinois as the next opponent. No offense to Illinois, but you're not beating Penn State at Happy Valley. So, yeah, that's what I love about Penn State. I don't know. I feel like I've ranted for quite a while. But again,
we talked about a few of these games. We're going to be long talks because they're worth it. They are worth it if you love football.
But again, I strongly believe, not just me being a Penn State fan, it's what I watched in the first half specifically. I don't believe Iowa would have won had Sean Clifford played the entire game.
And we talked about that a little bit in text messages.
Defensively, for how great of a defensive game it was on both sides, really not a lot of guys filled the stat sheet. I am going with the Temple transfer. I need to put this man on the board because he's shown out every single Penn State game. Arnold Ebiketie, 9 tackles, 5 solos, sack, 3.5 tackles for loss. I mean, he is a monster and he is everywhere, every single game for Penn State.
I can't argue with that one. I mean, I think both the stats on our board would have to be a Penn State guy. The only thing I would say in Iowa is, who were the people that collected the interceptions, but it was a different person each time. I don't think anyone had double.
No, it was 4 different guys. But I will say, though, Riley Moss got another one.
Yeah, they talked about him.
He now has 4 tied for the nation, for first in the country.
I just don't – I know we've talked about it, but I can't talk about Spencer Petras enough. Like, 2 touchdowns and an interception and only 195 yards is not going to get it done. And I guess that's what would back up, Iowa not winning if Sean Clifford is in there. That's the whole game. Sean Clifford would have doubled. You would think that he would have had another 146 yards in the second half.
And he would have thrown a touchdown. I would have bet that he would have thrown a touchdown in the second half.
Where I think Georgia has the best defensive line, I think Iowa has some of the best secondaries in the country.
Yeah.
And I don't, and that's not,
Penn State's
that's not, that's not a hotbed when you think of it, right? You think of Iowa being some strong, big linemen that get their running game going, some good linebackers, defensive line, but you don't go, oh, you think of LSU as being, cornerback but Singletary, Junior has been injured and whatnot, but whatever.
I thought Penn State did a good job on Tyler Goodson. Held him to 3.5 yards per carry, even though he did get 88. I think that was also one of the biggest factors of Iowa coming back, was that they ran it so much with him, even though it wasn't for a lot of yards. The threat of the run opened up the play action. That's what you saw in the game-winning touchdown on the throwback pass to Nico Reganey. That was probably the worst defensive play Penn State's had all year. So, it is what it is. Iowa covered -2.5, over 41 hits, which if y'all would have listened to me on Friday, you would have bet the over 41 because I told y'all it was going to hit. And I was very close on my score prediction too. Even though I said Penn State was going to win, I did say it was going to be 24-20. So I have very good feel when it comes to Big Ten games, specifically Penn State games. I can't say the same when I predict Georgia games. I couldn't tell you scores, especially with how Georgia likes to shut it down in the second half. All right, Pac-12, Washington State upsetting Oregon State 31-24. We were all on the Beavers.
We all went down swinging.
Just another one. Chance Nolan.
Thank you.
Jaden DeLaura, on the other hand, for the Cougars, very good. BJ Baylor did try, though. Him and Deshaun Fenwick did try to keep the Beavs in the game, and they did. I mean, one-score game, one-score loss. But, yeah, that's ridiculous. How do you have two guys combining for 272 yards?
You would think that you would win the game
on the ground and lose. But when your quarterback throws 2 picks, you only get 1 pick in return on defense. Yeah, that's how you lose. And Washington State didn't have any running game. I mean, kind of, if you want to count Deion McIntosh.
One-score game, turnovers matter, possession matters, field position matters, and the quarterback play got the job done. On defense, you always, I do like to go with the tackles. And George Hicks, he not only had 10 tackles, but he had half a tackle for loss and an INT. And right underneath him, you could go for him. And I think in a game like this where Oregon State's quarterback play was not good, I would take both defensive backs as players of the game because they really just shut the game down and made them run the ball.
Yeah, this was a weird game because Chance Nolan had really been a revelation for the Beavers this season after he became the starter once they benched Sam Neuer, the Colorado transfer.
Yeah.
I still think Oregon State has a chance at the Pac-12. People are going to still put Oregon there, but thing about Oregon, they're only 1-1 in conference play. Oregon State's 2-1. This one actually put Washington State up to 3rd. Washington State is 3rd. Stanford's 2nd at 2-2. Oregon is 4th in the North Division at 1-1, tied with Washington as well. Pac-12 South is loaded, though, when you look at conference records.
Oh, yeah.
Arizona State's 3-0. Utah's 2-0. UCLA 2-1. That's their top 3. So
I will say it doesn't get enough publicity. One of the best rivalries, and Eugene's a beautiful place. Oregon State campus is a beautiful place. That's a great rivalry, and I don't care. You can throw out any record. It's almost like a UNC Duke matchup or a Ohio State Michigan or Penn State and every person in the Big Ten when they play. throw out records because it's going to be a dogfight.
Yeah. That is the sad thing, that it is in Eugene this year.
Corvallis, sorry, is Oregon State. Beautiful, beautiful city.
Yeah, and they might be coming into that game hurting too, because they have to play host to Arizona State the week before that.
Oof.
So that'll be a tough 2 weeks, and even the week before that they host Stanford too. So
even with those records,
rough end of the year.
I would probably still bet against the South. I know they have better records, but sometimes I think the South is a facade. Does that make sense? I think Utah's pretty tough, but Jaden McDaniels hasn't played great. Is Chip Kelly really coaching above his head, or can people not really stop a running quarterback? Because I think if you make them throw at UCLA, I don't know.
Pac-12 South, in my mind, it's UCLA all the way. I don't care if Arizona State's ranked. I don't care if Utah's 2-0 in the conference. They're 3-3 overall. And UCLA by far has been the best overall team out of those Pac-12 South teams. And we don't know what the hell is going on at USC right now. Colorado's
God.
1-4. Arizona's 0-5. So, yeah, I think UCLA's got it.
Arizona's like a Vanderbilt in the West.
Whether they have a chance in the championship game or not, I highly doubt it. I think the guys up north are pretty good, though. Stanford, Oregon State, Oregon.
Oregon State, yeah. Oregon, Washington State.
And if you want to put Washington, I wouldn't put Washington State in there.
I trust the northern heavyweights better than the southern heavyweights, if that makes sense. But hopefully they make me eat my words, right?
The worst thing about the Pac-12, no stars at quarterback. Actually, there is one, but because they have played so crappily this year, he hasn't gotten any attention. Keaton Slovis at USC.
He can sling it.
Other than that, there's no star power quarterback in the Pac-12 right now. So there is star power at Oregon, though. Kayvon Thibodeau, #1 overall pick in the 2022 NFL draft. I'll keep saying it until it becomes true or until it is false.
You want to get tackled by him? Wouldn't it be fun?
Defensively, I'm going with Omar Spates, though. Beavers for 5 tackles, 1 solo, 1 tackle for loss, pass deflection, and a pick.
I love that somebody in a losing effort, finally. Thank you, James.
Washington State +4, under 59. UTEP 5-1 Miners beating Southern Miss 26-13. I don't know why I didn't put the stats on here. That's Oklahoma State Baylor stats. This was one of the games that This is one of the games that they didn't have the stats available when I first put the PowerPoint together. This happens from time to time, y'all. But if you want to know the stats, Southern Miss led their quarterback, Jake Lang, 20 of 31, 239, 2 touchdowns and a pick, 27.8 quarterback rating. UTEP, Gavin Hardison, he was 7 of 17, 127, 1 pick, 18.4 QBR. Reason why UTEP won the game, running back Ronald Awatt, 18 carries, 159 yards, 8.8 per carry, and a touchdown. Cowing didn't do much in this one, dude. 2 receptions, 24 yards.
All I know is going into this game and UTSA, I told myself, did I just pick 2 teams in El Paso and San Antonio to win? And that's nothing against the universities, but I don't remember in our pickings when they both won on the same weekend. And so I didn't watch these. I was nervous. It had nothing to do with the better record. But Southern Miss has been in a downward spiral the last 2 years.
Yeah, Frank Gore Jr., 16 carries, 43 yards, 2.7 per. Did catch 4 balls for 58 yards, though. Definitely not his dad. Granted, his dad played at Miami, so yeah.
Offensive line might be a little bit different there. Who knows?
The traits I don't think have passed down from father to son. You saw the same thing with Barry Sanders' son too. It's definitely not as good. But yeah, defensively, I'm gonna go with UTEP. They filled the stat sheet. Good Lord, did they? They they had 5 sacks,
Yeah.
14 tackles for loss. God dang. Dude, that was 14 tackles for loss. That's ridiculous, man. And I'm gonna go with this guy. Let's see if it wants to load the crappy service in my apartment. Just trying to get his first name. Praise Amawule. Amewule. I'm not sure.
That's not the first time we've said that on this show, or at least it's not the first time I've heard that name.
I'm pretty sure there's a different guy with Praise first name as well. At a Power 5 school. Pretty sure. Could be wrong, but I think maybe not. I don't know. But I feel like I haven't heard that last name before. But anyways, 5 tackles, all of them solo, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss, and 2 pass deflections. He is a defensive end. Really solid game there. And was there a defensive touchdown here? Yes, Breon Hayward, 55-yard fumble return for a touchdown. Also, Josh Ortega got a safety for the Miners. Was never really close. USM scored with 2 minutes to go. Otherwise, it would have ended 26-7. UTEP covered -1, under 47. All right. Okay. UTSA undefeated, 52-46 win over Western Kentucky. And yeah, I mean, I said this on Friday. I was so conflicted picking this game between Sincere McCormick and Bailey Zappi, but I had to go with my boy Bailey. He is, I think, the most electric quarterback that there is. And he's so fun to watch. It's just, he doesn't have a team around him. And I hate that I kept saying in the beginning of the season, Western Kentucky for Conference USA champion. But I didn't account for them having to run into UTSA. And the combination of Frank Harris and Sincere McCormick. And yeah, Frank Harris, I mean, dude, what else did he not do in this game? He caught a touchdown. He threw for 6. And he also ran for 51 yards. I mean, he did literally everything, accounting for all 7 of UTSA's touchdowns.
Listen, folks, if you've ever watched football or you haven't, you would think this game is all about just stats. I mean, Bailey, 5 touchdowns, 523 yards. That's half a century.
And he lost.
That's huge. Then you go to UTSA, 6 touchdowns. This is like a video game. Those 2 quarterbacks would have won the NFL fantasy in 1 week. And so I love that. There's a lot of good storylines. The score, you're 1-4. You're trying to beat someone undefeated. But ultimately, UTSA won. And with that many yards, you can't go with someone just with the most tackles. You got to go UTSA. I have to go the 1 pass deflection, 1 quarterback hurry, 1 interception, 2 tackles in Clarence Hicks.
Yeah, interesting. This game, there was a key moment. 8 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. Western Kentucky scores. They missed the 2-point conversion. That was the pivotal point in the game. That would have made it 45-45 instead of 45-43, because if it's 45-45, then they don't kick the field goal with 4:22 to go. They go for it and go for the game tying touchdown instead. But down 9, got to kick a field goal. So yeah, I mean, we had 300-yard receivers. Those 3 guys, Jarrett Stearns, he had 17 receptions last week, 16 more this week. I mean, pretty good. 33 receptions in 2 weeks combined. It's pretty solid, I would say. And I think he had almost 400 yards and 4 touchdowns in those 2 weeks combined as well. So him coming over,
That's pretty big.
Him coming over from Houston Baptist with Zappy. I mean, they had a whole host of people coming over from Baptist to Western Kentucky, including the offensive coordinator, Jarrett Stern's brother, blanking on what his name is. And then they had another guy as well, Adam Cofield, their leading rusher. He transferred in from North Dakota State, 2-time national champion there. And yeah, Quintez Cephas's little brother, Joshua Cephas at UTSA, 8 for 83 touchdown. He threw the 23-yard touchdown to Frank Harris. So yeah, defensively, I am going with the tackles. Rashad Wisdom, 13 tackles, 11 of them being solos, and a QB hurry. Really fun game though. It's so sad. Western Kentucky, like I said, they're 1-4 because of their schedule. It's been a really tough season, but I think, if they could have won this game, I would have had no reason saying that they were going to go undefeated the rest of it. I still think they will. I think they'll beat everyone else on their schedule and finish with a bowl berth, because Old Dominion, FIU, Charlotte, Mid-Tennessee, Rice, FAU, and Marshall. Those 2 at the end, FAU and Marshall, their hardest ones left. But I mean, the gauntlet that they had at the beginning, other than UT Martin, at Army, hosting Indiana, both of whom they only lost to by 3 points, or they lost Army by 3 and they lost Indiana by 2. And then they go to East Lansing and lose to Michigan State. It's just a tough non-conference schedule, and then you come in and have to play the best team in Conference USA right now. So it's tough, but like I said, I think they'll win out, get a bowl game. So
all winnable games.
Yes, UTSA plus 3.5 over 71. A lot of points this weekend in college and NFL. Big 12, TCU beating up on Texas Tech 52-31. Dude, the running game. I mean, I talked about Zach Evans. I didn't see Kendre Miller coming. I mean, 12 for 185, 3 touchdowns. Max Duggan only had to throw the ball 10 times, dude. I mean, that's how much domination TCU had on the clock and running the football. It was ridiculous.
When you score 54 points and only throw it 10 times, I just think that, like, we need to take a picture of that because it doesn't happen. Sorry, I haven't had my picture. This is not football, but I have a really depressed dog. So he's following me around, but he really needed to go outside, and I tried to pawn him off to my wife. Not pawn him off, but he needs to go inside and interact with kids. My wife, he's missing Blanca. But I mean, 52 points and you throw it 10 times. That's just not – that's old school. That's like when people were wearing leather helmets and you had a fullback at that time running people over.
Yeah, the craziest thing is I mentioned the clock, but really they didn't. It was almost even in terms of time of possession. They had it for 29 minutes. TCU had it, or Texas Tech had it for 31. But look at it. 6 yards short of 400 rushing, 394 rushing yards in this one. Their average. You want to guess, Mark? They ran it 47 total times.
10.2, 10.4?
Oh, lower than that, but 8.4 per carry.
Sorry. It made me, yeah. I was
47 carries. Yeah. 498 total yards for TCU, 558 yards for Texas Tech. I mean, the defense for TCU was really good, though. When you look at it, Travius Hodges Tomlinson, he had a pick six, 29 yards. And
yeah, come on.
Really good defense for Gary Patterson this one. And the running game, like I said. So this is what it is. Luckily, we all picked the Horned Frogs.
Yeah, luckily.
TCU -2.5. They covered over 61. Like I said, a lot of freaking points this weekend. Texas Tech, what a game! I watched the end of it. I didn't. I didn't watch the entire game, but Texas Tech quadruple overtime winner against South Alabama, 33-31. And these are the Penn State Indiana numbers. I have no idea why. Again, this is just like the UTEP game where when I went in to do the stats, they didn't have the stats available and I forgot about it. So we can go to the stats though.
4 overtimes is just a fun game. I kept watching this score on my phone and then trying to switch back to it and see, I didn't watch the entirety, but like, oh man, this is 1 overtime, 2 overtime, 3 overtime, 4 overtime, turn it on.
So, I watched the last play. That's all I watched in this game. I watched Texas State stand up against South Alabama on the last 2-point conversion since they had that new rule this year, Had to go for 2 after a touchdown in the second overtime, and then third overtime you start going for just 2-point conversions. But yeah, Jake Bentley, former South Carolina and Utah quarterback, 19-26, 189, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Also ran it 3 times for 13 yards. And then Texas State's quarterback, Brady McBride, 18-28, 187, 2 touchdowns, 3 picks, 15 carries, 57 yards. Texas State did a great job on the ground. 47 carries total, 213, and 2 touchdowns. And really, I mean, I don't know where it was won other than the last play of the game, stopping the 2-point conversion. Running back for USA, AJ Phillips, he had 19 carries, 74 yards, and 2 touchdowns. It was actually even in terms of turnovers, 3 and 3 on each side. But yeah, I think the biggest thing for me was that the rushing for Texas State, 213 to 141 was the rushing numbers. Both terrible. That's ridiculous. They both had the exact same 3rd and 4th down conversions. 4 for 14 on 3rd down for each of them. 3 of 3 on 4th down for each.
Fun game, and just, flip the records on one play. You could be
penalties.
3 and 2.
13 penalties, 125 penalty yards for South Alabama.
Well, that could be a difference in your game, and you gotta hate that as a coach. Because everybody is going to blame you for it, even though you're not on the field. But
Texas State wasn't much better. 7 for 71. Defensively, a lot of really, really great stats to pick from. They filled it up in this one. I mean, I guess that happens when you're quadruple overtime. But granted, that, like I said, that doesn't matter because you got one play each time in triple overtime and on. So. I really don't know who to pick, but I'm going to go with South Alabama, actually. And we're going to go with this guy up here. Wykevious Thomas, defensive lineman, number 99, 9 tackles, 4 solos, half a sack, 1.5 tackles lost, QB hurry. Sound good?
I like it. I like the number. I like the play in the backfield.
Texas State +4 over 53. Mountain West, Air Force getting it done 24-14 at home against Wyoming. Hazik Daniels, really solid day for an Air Force quarterback there. Did put it on the ground once, but my favorite Air Force player is the full. I don't know why they have him on the roster as a running back. He is a fullback. Brad Roberts is a fullback. 33 carries, 140 yards, and a touchdown. He is by far my favorite Air Force guy that I know.
Look, I was once told the fullback position is an extinct position, and you don't see it anymore. And I grew up watching Moose Johnston with the Cowboys, Mike Allstott, and I can't agree with you more. I love to watch this guy just get downfield. He's physical. He takes hits. He brings people with him. And of all the service academy, I have to admit this year, and I'm going to look at the floor while I say this, the Navy is stinking it up.
They have for the last couple of years. But yeah, I really do like Hazik Daniels. He has really, I think, Air Force as a whole has revolutionized the way that they're running the triple option and pushing it more toward what Coastal Carolina does in the spread triple option, while still being an under the center. And they do more shotgun. And as you can see, they throw it more than what Army and Navy do, 10 times in this one for Hazik. But yeah, it's an interesting thing, and I think Air Force is pretty decent. They're up there. They're in good position to fight for a Mountain West championship this year with a couple other teams that are pretty good right now too.
I've got to go with linebacker Vince Sanford because of the half extra tackle for loss, but 6 tackles, 3 solo, 1 sack, 1.5 tackles for loss, 1 pass deflection. I'm a big linebacker fan. I mean, I know that everybody nowadays wants to rush the quarterback and get to him, and you have to with your defensive line, but the linebackers make everybody's job easier, whether it's cornerbacks or your defensive line.
Yeah, I'm going to just, before I pick my defensive guy, Xavier Valade, my favorite player from Wyoming.
He had himself a game.
He had a good day. Only 8 carries, though. I think they got behind. Sean Chambers having to throw it 28 times. They should have just gave it 28 times to Xavier Valade, and maybe it might have won.
In the stats that we see, that doesn't mean that they didn't throw it to him, but if he's averaging 12 yards on a carry, why don't you get him some touches, on screens and running back will routes? Those are the questions you have to ask yourself. And in this games with the services, Army, Navy, Air Force, to me, it slows down. Like it's a slower pace. So shouldn't your OC think of more creative ways to get your best player touches?
Well, the issue with his stats, 1 carry for 74 yards.
Well, that's an issue.
So 7 carries for 22 there. Still, that is, that's not good. A little over 3, but it is what it is. Defensively, I'm going with Milton Bug for Air Force, 4 tackles, 3 solos, half tackle loss, 3 pass deflections. Air Force covered -5.5, under 47. Let's go to the Big Ten. Number 9, Michigan squeaker against Nebraska, 32-29 in Lincoln. Yeah, I was irked by this one because this game ended after Penn State had already lost, and I was like, well, As you know, Penn State lost. At least the Michigan can do is have the courtesy to lose on the same day. But I knew they weren't going to lose to Nebraska. I mean,
Look,
it's
Nebraska is just what's a conundrum? Would that just it's just weird. I mean, my thing is your quarterback numbers are terrible for Michigan. I equate Michigan to being a Big Ten Oklahoma right now. They're finding ways to win, but it's ugly. What type of team are they? And I've heard a lot of people say this is the year that he's figured it out and this or that. And maybe they can junk it up to beat everybody, but how do you win with this quarterback play? I mean, Cade McNamara didn't even have a touchdown.
Well, the thing is they seem to play down to their competition.
That's true. That's true.
Especially once they got into Big Ten play. Beating Rutgers by 7 and now Nebraska by 3. Now they blew out Wisconsin at Wisconsin. But we know Wisconsin is not Wisconsin right now. So Big Ten play, 2 out of the 3 games being one score against what I would call the bottom, really. I mean, when you look at it, probably the bottom 2 teams in each division, Rutgers in the East and Nebraska in the West. Like we said, Wisconsin is probably the worst team in the West right now. But yeah, I don't think Nebraska is that good. Adrian Martinez, I do like Adrian Martinez. He is a really good quarterback, very mobile, can create that second.
I think if he to piggyback off that, I think if he had skill players, and I think that's what Nebraska is missing and has been.
Well, they had one. They had Wan'Dale Robinson, but they let him go. They let him leave to Kentucky, and now look, he's undefeated.
I know.
But I mean, the thing is, Adrian Martinez lost him the game. That
play lost him. I'm with you there.
You can't fumble. I don't understand how he fumbled it in the first place. It was a QB sneak, right?
Yeah.
I just didn't understand how he fumbled.
Waggle. Yeah.
And yeah, Michigan goes down, wins it with a Jake Moody field goal. So
I don't want to spend lots of time on this because some people are on this Michigan train, and I'm not saying that I'm not. I just don't understand who they are right now.
Well, we'll figure it out in 2 weeks.
And I told you that if you're a Nebraska fan or alumni or booster, how do you keep giving money to Nebraska? And I don't necessarily like coaching changes because I'm like you. I think the Steelers have been so successful because it's been so, they backed everybody that's been coaching. They backed their owners and whatnot. So what do you do at Nebraska?
Fire them.
I would. I definitely would. I think let's not drag it out, but yeah, I do think that. I think you move on. I think they need a whole revamp of the whole athletic administration, which they have. They've now posted athletic director job and hired a new person. So I don't see Scott Frost being there.
We'll find out who Michigan really is in 2 weeks.
And I'm looking forward to it. Maybe that's one. Well, I can't come watch because that's Georgia, Florida. But yeah.
They go to East Lansing.
Yeah.
Michigan State. Michigan covered -2.5, over 50. Number 14, Notre Dame. Again, a 32-29 score, beating Virginia Tech in Blacksburg. That's why we picked Tech. And Chris lone wolf Notre Dame, but that's fine. I had all the confidence that Virginia Tech could beat them, and they should have.
I'm not even mad about this outcome. Thank you for saying that. I'm not even mad about this. I think Chris being me by 2 or 3 games this weekend. 2. I think I went 20-8 or 20-9, and he might have won 22 games. But it took a field goal. I love Blacksburg. I've talked about it. And in a game like this, you can't. I don't know. In my opinion, you can't say it's just the turnovers or it's just this. Sometimes the ball bounces certain ways. Who has the ball last?
Again, Notre Dame is just like Oklahoma. Now, Oklahoma has different quarterbacks. We'll have to see how they hold themselves going forward. But I don't think it really matters who the quarterback is for Notre Dame. I don't have confidence in any of them that they have on the roster. So
I like Jack Cohn. I think he's more than capable.
Nope. Doesn't do it for me.
Well, here's my thing. Kyron Williams is a shell of himself. And so I think the offensive line was supposed to be big and bad like it was last year. I think it's deteriorated compared to last year. And so you're not going to see the best Jack Cohn. You're not going to see Kyron Williams. But I think this solely falls this year on Kyron Williams. He was this, oh, man, they're beating people by running last year. Well, if so, because we've seen Jack Cohn throw the football all across the football stadium, come back and win games for him. And in my view is he can't do it all by himself.
But just like Oklahoma,
somewhere else.
Oklahoma, they're close games, and you can't. That's not sustainable. Winning close games.
Oh, I don't, and I agree. I agree there with you. But I would like Jack Cohn under center more than Spencer Rattler at this point.
Oh yeah. Trey Turner continues to have a really good season for the Hokies, 6 for 80 on this one. And defensively, Jermaine Waller, 26-yard pick six, along with 5 tackles, 4 solos.
Can't argue there, my man. Can't argue there.
Notre Dame covered +1 over 47. SEC number 16, Kentucky, they stay undefeated, blowing out LSU 42-21 in Lexington. Yeah, dude, what efficiency from Will Levis. 5 total touchdowns from him, 75 on the ground. Not the yards that you want. But it doesn't matter. Kentucky gets it done. Chris Rodriguez, I have been saying this for the last 3 weeks now. Chris Rodriguez and that running game to go along with the defense that Kentucky is putting out right now. They're good. They're not going to beat Georgia. I will say that right now. I don't care if people want to say that you shouldn't say that because you never know. But for one, it's in Athens. And two, Will Levis is not the quarterback to beat Georgia.
Look, I'm not arguing with that one iota for the fact that if you're the number 1 team in the nation, you just have to take care of business. And number 1 teams in the nation beat number 11s in the nation by 2-3 touchdowns, right? And in my opinion, you make Will Levis beat you. Okay, I see you on film. I see your run game. Well, we have the best defensive line in the nation, right? That's this weekend. I'm curious, is Ojulari related to – is it spelled the same way?
Yeah, I haven't looked into that. I would believe so, considering he plays in the SEC too.
But 42-21 – 3 years ago, after the national championship, which is actually sooner than that, 2.5 now? Would anyone think Kentucky would beat LSU 42-21 and be undefeated? No. And so I got to give props to Coach Stoops, but they're still missing that ingredient to win the East championship, and I don't
I think
maybe this is their best year, but it's not going to happen. And I think Florida will be better next year than they will be.
I think it's very easy to defend Kentucky. Shut down Chris Rodriguez, double team Wandale Robinson, make Will Levis beat you. It's very simple. It's tough when you don't have the players. LSU, Derek Stingley's out for the year, essentially, almost the whole year. Hopes to be back. But without Derek Stingley, he was even having a down season anyways. You know, Kavanaugh Smoke pulled in 100 yards as well on the ground. So it's.
I will say this: what is an intriguing domain going into Saturday is, if people don't remember this, Kirby Smart wanted UK's offensive coordinator before Todd Monken. And this is exactly what you would see as a Georgia offense. 2 backs over 100 yards. Your quarterback has a bunch of touchdowns, but threw it very little, right? Because the run game set it up. So I do think that's interesting. I'm not worried. I think I was even more worried about the Arkansas game, but it is a number 11 versus number 1. College game day will be in Athens. And after this season, I think the intrigue is, what do you do with Coach O?
Defensively, I'm going with Octavius Oxendine. 3 tackles, 2 solos, 2 sacks, 2 tackles lost. Kentucky -2 covered over 51. The big one. Texas A&M in College Station upsetting number 1 Alabama 41-38. And I don't think you can't blame Bryce Young. He only threw 1 interception, but Calzada returned the favor in throwing 1 as well. I mean, 369 and 3 touchdowns, crappy percentage, but other than that, I don't really know why. Actually, I do know why they lost. Do you want me to say that, or do you want to go? Why I think he lost?
I want you to say it because you already know how critical I've been of Mr. Jimbo Fisher, and now this essentially
the only one
saves his entire extension, which I think is still the worst extension in college football. But go ahead, please.
The reason why they lost is because whoever their defensive coordinator is never adjusted to having Brian Branch covering Anais Smith in the slot all game. Anais Smith just killed Brian Branch as a safety covering the speedster that is Anais Smith. And yeah, you saw it when they got the pass interference to get in field goal range at the end. It wasn't even close. So I think that was the biggest matchup that I saw throughout the game. And I didn't even start watching the game until like the second half. So
here are my 2 takeaways of this game. Because I didn't watch it until the second half either. So I'm right on the train with you. Well, going into halftime, like, oh, this is intriguing. 2 things that I don't like. There is no stat that is put on our screen right now. That doesn't mean it didn't happen, because I think they had 1 sack or 2. That Alabama is not getting the pressure that they have in recents against quarterbacks. And what's hurt Texas A&M this year is making their quarterbacks get hit, make a decision on the fly. I ended up actually kind of researching, like, why did this happen the next day? And Zach Calzada had, like, Tom Brady time in the pocket in the second half. His footwork was good. He looked kind of like a mixture of just really talented quarterbacks, whether not comparison. So talking about footwork, it looked like he had been with Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, and Drew Brees, and some footwork, and he found his receivers, and they won the game. And Saban has talked about it. You got to score a lot to be successful in today's game, but they are getting no pressure in this game.
Yeah. Zach Calzada really surprised me. I was down on him for a couple weeks. They lost back-to-back games. And he was the guy. He was their offense. I mean, Spiller only ran for 46. They really shut him and a chain down, except for the 96-yard kick return touchdown, which I think was massive. Alabama blocks the punt, recovers it for a touchdown in the end zone. And the next play, A&M takes all the momentum back on one foul swoop with the chain running it back for 96 yards to the house. Was happy that Weidermeyer got involved in this one, 3 for 73 and a touchdown. Would still like to have him catch 5 balls per game. I mean, he should be catching 5 per game. I don't know why he doesn't, but
this was supposed to be the A&M team that was going to challenge Alabama, right? And
yeah,
I still don't believe in Jimbo Fisher. I actually kind of believe, like you're telling me, maybe every defense prepares for him, but you're telling me that your running back and Isaiah Spiller can only get 2.7 yards in average. And I'm not even piggybacking off his last name. He's talented.
Yeah. Well, Jimbo's the only one now, the only one to ever beat Bama as a former assistant. Yep. He also, before the game, had the worst record, being the only one to lose 4 times to him. But he also backed his words up. He did say this summer they were going to beat Bama before Saban retires, and they got it done.
He did, and this will resonate with A&M boosters and fans for a long time, and I still am not a Jimbo Fisher fan. And I want to tell you why. I think that doesn't mean he can't coach and he can't recruit. I think he is not a good developer of quarterbacks.
Like they need freaking more money at A&M, dude. Are you kidding me?
He didn't win the Florida State championship by developing Jameis Winston. He won that by inheriting Jameis Winston and riding his back. Jameis Winston was a train wreck at Florida State, and Jimbo Fisher did nothing to develop him.
And Dalvin.
And he's not doing anything to develop quarterbacks.
And Dalvin. But yeah, I'm going with Michael Clemens for A&M defensively, 3 tackles, 2 solos, sack, tackle for loss, pass deflection, 3 QB hurries. King Wikuda, I don't even know how to say his name, was the guy that recovered that block punt for a touchdown in the end zone. A&M plus 18.5 over 51. I was sad. I was actually rooting for Bama at one point because I live bet minus 4.5. You don't see Bama not cover 4.5 often. So
all I know is, do they win out or do they lose another one?
I don't know. Mountain West, number 25, San Diego State. Aztecs stay undefeated, rolling over New Mexico 31-7. Brookshire not having to do much. Greg Bell really carried the ball well, 111 yards and a touchdown on the ground. Did put it on the ground, but his brother Chance Bell scored once as well. And yeah, these last 2 games we don't have to spend much time. We knew it was going to happen. New Mexico State suck. And I'm surprised San Diego State, granted they are the only undefeated team in the Mountain West anymore with Wyoming losing to Air Force, but I'm surprised that they're the only one that's ranked. I think the next team we'll talk about should be ranked soon, but they got to win some more games. Yeah. Defensively, I'm going actually with the New Mexico guy because I love defensive touchdowns. So Ray Leutele, 5 tackles, 3 solos, tackle for loss, and a 15-yard fumble return touchdown.
I go safety Trenton Thomas, 2 tackles. I love pass deflections like Chris. Can't throw on me and an interception.
Kentucky transfer quarterback Terry Wilson having a interesting season at New Mexico. San Diego State did cover minus 19.5 and over under 43. Mexico couldn't score enough. Nevada beating up on New Mexico State 55-28. Carson Strong, dude. I love me some Carson Strong. 377 and 6 touchdowns.
You do.
I hate myself for this game, though, because New Mexico State, they were up 7-3 at the end of the first quarter. I looked at the live betting, and I was like, Nevada minus 7.5. And I don't know why I didn't. I was just like, well, I've seen it before with the Fresno State UNLV game. I've seen that Mountain West, and granted, this isn't a Mountain West matchup. New Mexico State's independent. I was so hesitant, even though I covered that UNLV Fresno State game. Fresno State covered me. I think 8.5 it was at the end. But I don't know why that game came into mind, and I was like, I can't put 7.5 down. And dude, that would have been the hammer of the century. And I hate myself for not doing that.
I would have liked to see that.
Yeah. These are the betting decisions that is why I lose money. And why I suck at betting. But anyways, Melquan Stovall, Justin Lockhart, both over 100 yards and a touchdown for the Wolfpack. Yeah. And like I said, dude, I love Carson Strong, man. I was surprised, though, Cole Turner didn't do much in this one. Usually very active for Nevada. Not very much. He did score twice on both of his receptions, though. Defensively, I'm going with Dom Peterson. Defensive tackle, 2 tackles, a solo, 1.5 sacks, 1.5 tackles lost, 2 QB hurries. Did you have anything for this game, Mark?
Team that I thought was going to win won.
One big. Not big enough, though, however. New Mexico State did cover plus 28.5 because of garbage time points from, what are they, the Aggies?
Yep.
Yeah, they scored 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. That's why they covered. Plus 28.5, over 65. That's also why the over hit. Actually, yeah. I mean, it was going to be close, 55-7. Okay, NFL. Or no, I forgot to put I always forget to write that one on the dang script.
FCS.
But you know what, though? I got the stats on here, unlike the UTEP game and the other game.
Can you believe that? And it was a funny way we lost.
Dude, it was a ridiculous. If you look at the top 25 in FCS this weekend, upsets galore. I don't know if you want to talk. I can get my little FCS ranking sheet and just tell you, but I got to go get it.
If you didn't watch these games and you don't know about these schools, Missouri Valley, Southern Illinois, great game. Coming down to Southern Illinois, coming back last second. Wasn't it a fumble recovery? Or interception?
I always forget to watch these games every weekend. But I tried to catch the end of it, and it was already over. But it was a 19-yard touchdown with 34 seconds to go. Nick Baker to Landon Lenore for the tying score. And then South Dakota State scored a touchdown in overtime. First, missed the extra point. That's what lost in the game. Missed extra point in overtime. But yes, number 8, Southern Illinois did upset number 2, South Dakota State, 42-41 in OT. And yeah, this one was at South Dakota State too. Nick Baker played amazing. 359, 4 touchdowns for the Salukis. Pierre Strong had a great game as well. 20 for 162 on the ground, 2 touchdowns. Also threw a touchdown. I believe that one was to Tucker Kraft. I think that's who the touchdown was to. But yeah, like I said, dude, FCS was ridiculous. I wish I would have watched these games, but you know, I'm always watching all the FBS games. It's hard to catch the FCS ones too. Upsets that happened though this weekend. Rhode Island, they went to 5-0. Number 18 Rhode Island, they upset number 9 Delaware, 22-15. You also had Villanova, they went on the road to James Madison.
Yeah.
What was Nova here? Number 11 Villanova upsets number 3 James Madison on the road in Harrisonburg, Virginia. You also had your alma mater, dude, get upset in Youngstown, Ohio. Youngstown State took down Missouri. What were you? Number 15 Missouri State, 41-33.
Youngstown State's been really good in the past.
And then you had Idaho State. They took down number 7 UC Davis 27-17. South Dakota took out number 13 North Dakota 20-13. I think there was one more. Maybe not. No, that was all. But I mean, just that was what, 4 or 5? You had South Dakota State, James Madison, UC Davis, Delaware, North Dakota, Missouri State. 6 top 25 upsets in the FCS. Oh, and technically, if you want to count this one too, Jacksonville State technically upset Stephen F. Austin. That was a Jacksonville State number 24 over Stephen F. Austin number 23. 28-24. The FCS was wild this weekend. Like I said, I wish I would have watched more games, but I was concerned with the FBS ones, unfortunately. So, yeah. 97-yard fumble return touchdown for Malik Lofton, which was a crazy play in itself. I don't know if you saw that one, Mark. Javon? What's his? Blanking on his name.
I thought that was what tied the game to go to overtime for a minute.
Javon Williams Jr. stripped on the goal line by Malik Lofton, took it to the house. But yeah, anyways, Donovan Spencer, though, 103 yards and 2 touchdowns for the Salukis, getting it done in the winning effort. And because they put the lines out after we have our show on Friday, we always get to tell you the lines here. SIU plus 14.5 over 57. All right, now we get the NFL.
Oh,
London.
Let's talk about it.
London calling. 27-24 win.
We all got this wrong.
For the Falcons in the UK at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Yeah, Zach Wilson sucked. The Jets suck.
I know I'm saying however, let's just say I'm never picking the Jets anymore. I thought this rookie quarterback was going to infuse life into him and a new coach. And the thing that I told you guys in a text message, why did I even bank on anything preseason? No one plays anybody in the preseason. It's almost like, let's go flag football and then eventually just play games. Because the NFL, you got preseason wrong.
I just wish the Lions had one win, so it would be the Jets, Texans, and Lions. Oh, and the Jags, all fighting for the number one pick right now, but it's only the Jags and Lions because those are the only two teams that don't have wins. But the thing is, the Falcons suck too. Come on. Their defense is terrible. That's why I picked Jets, because for one, Falcons defense is not that good. They looked like they had freaking all pros on defense in this game. And for two, Calvin Ridley and Russell Gage were out. Now, Russell Gage hasn't really done much this year, but with Calvin Ridley out, I thought that was a big issue for the passing game. But it didn't matter because Kyle Pitts had his first career 100-yard game and his first career touchdown.
The injuries and the time zone, I said the Jets are getting the second win of the season. It's in their favor. And exactly what you said. Cordell Patterson has played better above his ceiling. I think they're doing some good job putting him in positions to run the ball, catch the ball, do some special teams things. But I thought with the injuries on the Falcons, okay, Zach Wilson, take care of the ball, get it to Corey Davis. Neither team I thought would have that great of a running game, but Kyle Pitts, he had his coming out party. And I'm not saying that's sustainable, but he had it against maybe the third worst team in the NFL, first worst team, second. I mean, at this time, let's all juggle the Jaguars, Texans, the Jets, blah, 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 the Lions.
Yeah, I was really banking on the Jets to win this one, considering the Patriots are playing the Texans. And I have that. I have those two bets of the Jets finishing third and the Patriots finishing fourth. Now the Patriots are a leg up, and it's going to be tough. But I hope, I'm praying that the Jets can get it done. Get some wins rolling for New York. They're playing the fourth place schedule, so how can they not get wins? But they got to play the Texans too. So I'm banking on a win there.
Sorry, Chris, that you're a Jets fan. And if I lived in New York, I would be a Jets fan. I love firefighters. I love the core colors of the Jets, and everybody seems to be a Giants fan that I've met. But it's heartbreaking. I feel for you, man.
Yeah, Ade Tacumbo Ogundeji had a good game for the Falcons defense. Two tackles, both of them solo. Sack, tackle for loss, 2 QB hits. It is funny, dude. Hayden Hurst kept fumbling the ball. This is very interesting. Falcons did cover -3. That was annoying. Granted, I had Jets +3 and a little 3-leg parlay that didn't happen anyways because Crowder didn't score. But also, I live bet Jets +8.5. So over 46. Over because the Jets kicked a field goal instead of going for it on fourth down. Eagles upset the Panthers in Charlotte 21-18. And I know the Eagles are my number one team, and people are going to probably dislike me for saying this. But why did you have to win this one? The game that I have money against you, Philadelphia, you lose.
Yeah, that's a good question.
And the thing is, they shouldn't have lost. They shouldn't have won. When you look at two things.
They should not have won.
One, they only got a safety on their on the high snap over Jalen Hurts' head. They only got a safety on that, instead of recovering it in the end zone for a touchdown. That's a 5-point swing right there. Second, they couldn't get the punt off that the Eagles blocked, leading to the game, one of the touchdowns that the Eagles had, or the go-ahead touchdown. Yeah, the go-ahead touchdown that the Eagles had. The QB sneak from Jalen Hurts. That blocked punt is what led to the Eagles scoring. Those were the two key plays in my mind. Other than that, it's a crappy game. Sam Darnold and people do not say stuff about Sam Darnold.
Look,
just because he's had 2 bad games, he doesn't have Christian McCaffrey.
I'm not even worried about Sam Darnold. What's the game that we talked about in college where they just you keep your foot down, you win the championship or the game? Texas, OU. This is what I was watching this game going, what are you doing? Stop managing every little, and I'm a Matt Rule fan and his coaching staff, and I like what they've done with the draft. But they got this lead, and it was managing not to lose instead of let's just keep going. That's what I felt about this game.
15-3.
You can say that 3 interceptions will turn the tide, and that is true. But you don't have Christian McCaffrey. You still have someone over 100 yards. I still believe in your defense. But I thought that they just slowed down the game and said, and I don't want to say anyone ever thinks that they're going to win, but I think it was even worse than Texas because the NFL is a shorter game, in my opinion, than college. You're going to have more possessions. It's going to be more fast-paced. But it's just – I thought the Panthers lost this game, and people don't like when people say that, but I 100% believe that. It's not as if the Eagles just won this game.
Yeah, I mean it was 15-3 with 2.5 to go. I think the start of the issues were that the Panthers gave the Eagles the ball back after they got that safety. Panthers got the safety to go up 15-3 and gave the Eagles the ball back then because they went 3 and out. They allowed Jalen Hurts to go down and get a field goal from Jake Elliott to make it 15-6 at halftime instead of 15-3. And then, like I said, the other 2 plays were issues as well. So, yeah. The Panthers had a 82.5% chance to win this game, up 18-13, 2nd and 9 on their own 26-yard line with 3:09 to go. 82.5% chance. And then the punt happened. Yeah, swung very quickly. Miles Sanders, I don't know what the hell the Eagles do in a running game. I don't know. I have no idea what they're doing right now on offense at all, other than Jalen Hurts throwing the ball. But yeah, defensively, Hassan Reddick, really good season coming over from the Cardinals. 8 tackles, 2 sacks, 2 tackles lost, 2 QB hits.
Before we move on, I think this game kind of solidifies what, and you can argue with me or disagree, but I think Carolina needs a second receiver.
They have one. They've thrown it to him. They've been throwing it to him. It's just the issue is he's not catching the ball. 2 out of 7 for Robbie Anderson in this game. 2 catches on 7 targets.
What I like about Robbie Anderson is it's that lightning, right? You get behind the defense. Sam Darnold knows you from New York. I'm going to loft it, and you're wide open. No, I'm talking about you need someone, DJ Moore, and you need another or third wide receiver.
Oh, they do have another one, too. 2nd-round pick, Terrace Marshall. But I don't know what he's doing.
Exactly. That just because you're a second round pick doesn't mean that you're any good. You have to have someone established if you want to compete in your division.
But
So
yeah,
I will say you have DJ Moore. I will give credit to Robbie Anderson, but every good team now has somebody that they can go to. We'll talk about it later, but who does the Chiefs have after Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce? There's no tight end play in Carolina.
well,
And so
I think that's where you're seeing it. You're seeing Tommy Tremble is. It's been slow, and they had to ship away Dan Arnold in order to get Tremble more snaps. I think their biggest issue is they keep giving Ian Thomas starting reps, but I think the reason they're doing that is because Ian Thomas is a better blocker at this stage of Tommy Tremble's career than he. I think that's the only reason that I could.
I do believe that Trimble is capable. It's just like it's almost like you have to speed up development if you want to sustain winning. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I'm still waiting on Robbie Anderson. I mean, my dumb ass keeps starting Robbie Anderson in fantasy every week because he had a great matchup. It's the Eagles secondary was not that good. I mean, Darius Slay had 2 picks. Steven Nelson had a pick, but that's not on the receiver necessarily all the time. I think all 3 of the picks were on Sam Darnold. Actually,
I've both been on this Panthers train, and it can't go 3-3 next week. Otherwise, we've got some major holes.
But yeah, Javon Hargrave continues to have a spectacular season for the Eagles in his second year with the team. Eagles plus 2.5, under 46. Yeah.
Love to see 100-year-old Fletcher Cox down there too, still doing his thing.
Lost a lot of freaking money because of the Eagles. God. I had the Panthers money line parlayed with the Titans minus 4.5. I also had Panthers money line straight up. We had it. Steelers getting it done at home at Heinz Field, 27-19 over the Broncos.
Yeah.
I was in love with this game. Probably because I didn't have any money on it. Actually, I did. I had Najee Harris anytime touchdown, but that was in a parlay that ended up not winning, which I'll talk about that in Sunday Night Football. Don't you worry. But this was the best the Steelers offense has looked the entire season. Najee Harris, first career 100-yard game on the ground. Fantastic. Loved every aspect of this game.
So maybe not a lot to dissect, but I chose the Steelers for the same reason that I picked the Chiefs. Chiefs didn't do what I wanted them to do, and because they played a 100% better opponent. But what you and I have both talked about, you said just let Najee get into a groove, and it's going to help the whole offense. You look at Chase Claypool numbers. I loved what he said before the game, like homies. And he said this, I'm not, don't get mad at me, homies, people in the media, whoever you want to be. I've already beat the odds. So I'm not even worried about our record. I'm going to go out and play. And he played.
Mapletron.
Juju getting, injured. Roethlisberger didn't have great numbers, but what is the thing that he didn't do through the air? He did have a fumble, but he didn't throw an interception. And with Najee's ground game, that shows that the offensive line is getting better. And I think that is the one issue Pittsburgh's had. It's not that Roethlisberger's, ancient and coming out of a pyramid, decrepit. It's give him time to throw the ball, let him sit in the pocket. He can absorb hits. He's never going to be mobile, but give him time. And then you gave your running game a chance. And I picked the Steelers because there was no way I saw the Steelers going 1-4. And the Broncos have beaten up some teams that I didn't think were very good.
I knew the Steelers defense was going to have a good day against the Broncos offense. That's why I picked the game that I did. But I think that I was kind of surprised Chase Claypool hadn't been doing much this year, but great stat that Steelers reporter for NFL Network, Aditi Hinkobala, put out on Twitter today. This was the first game this year that all 5 of the Steelers' offensive linemen played all of the snaps. They hadn't played every single snap together all season so far, injuries and whatnot. I think that was a big factor. The continuity on the offensive line, regardless of, experience, I think having everyone in there, every single play together really makes a difference. So.
I think that's going to be something that makes or breaks the Chiefs going forward. That's a different game. What I look forward, the Steelers win this game, right? And I think this is the toughest division outside of my Rams division. And I said this going into this. I love all of these teams. Both of those divisions, I have 3 people in the playoffs if anyone wants to go look. I don't know if that's
4 in the NFC West.
I don't know. Well, that one. Yeah. But talking about Chase Claypool and his numbers, what I want to see moving forward, and we saw last year, is I don't want it just to be receptions. Think about the little pass. I think they're pitches, and they didn't count as pass yards when I was growing up and in high school. But I want wide receiver end arounds. I want a little pitches. I want to get creative with Chase Claypool because I think he's that talented. And we haven't seen that yet, and you're setting at 2 and 3, and I think you can expand on your offense.
Well, it's a different offense this year. Matt Canada's offense they don't have those kind of things. So.
Well, Matt Canada, you need to listen. And get on this podcast.
He only listens to you.
Get on this podcast.
But yeah, Devin Bush, I like the game. Only had 1 tackle and it was a solo tackle, but he pitched in a sack, tackle for loss, 2 QB hits there.
Minka Fitzpatrick showing a little bit of youth in this game is what I like.
The Steelers plus 1.5 over 40. What a game. What a game in Cincinnati. 25-22, Packers in overtime over the Bengals. God damn. I should have put the kickers on here, shouldn't I?
I text you guys during this game, and everything was, oh my gosh, this is the game to watch. And all I have to say, I have to brag on Joe Burrow, okay? Because there's a lot of intriguing. We can pinpoint and talk about the kickers for 10 minutes. But I don't believe that the Bengals would be competitive without Joe Burrow.
They weren't last year. We already know that.
It's just amazing. And he still had 2 interceptions, and he owns it. But he brings every person's best ability out of them. I think Joe Mixon is nothing without him. We do have to talk about Mason Crosby. Like him and Aaron Rodgers are like this, but man, 3 missed field goals.
Before you get to the kickers, let's talk about the receivers.
Jamar
Chase for Devontae Adams and Jamar Chase. God, good Lord. I mean, Devontae Adams, 206 yards, 11 catches and a touchdown. Chase with a 75-yard bomb, 6 receptions, 159 and touchdown. He has 5 touchdowns through 6 touchdowns through 5 games. I don't know. I don't even know.
Devontae Adams is leading the receptions in the NFL by a mile. And none of us picked Jamar Chase for rookie offensive of the year because of the drops in the preseason, but he's killing it.
Just wait. It's fine. It's fine. He can have those. But just wait, because we saw that last game, Najee got 100 yards.
No.
He is coming. And because Najee had all those receptions in the first 4 games, I'm telling you, Najee's coming, dude. Najee's going to rebound. He's going to have a 1,000-yard season.
You need to take that noise to the West Coast because that's just not happening.
Najee's going to have a 1,000-yard season and 10 touchdowns.
He's in the driver's seat in a Ferrari just going. because it is not happening. And if anyone wants to see a dynamic duo, if you ever have a chance to draft a number one quarterback and then a receiver again in the top 10 to 15, and they should be from the same school, oh my gosh, they're like on brainwaves.
Well, everyone's doing it now. That's what the cool kids do nowadays, Mark. Devontae Smith with Jalen Hurts, Jalen Waddle with Tua Tagovailoa.
I know.
Nowadays, Mark.
Now we just need more offensive. No, I'm just kidding.
But the kickers, we had 5 straight missed field goals.
There was some
one finally went through.
There was some wind in Cincinnati. There was a few kicks that looked like they were straight on, and that was like only 1 or 2. But then the other misses was like when it came off their foot, I was like, that's wide left. That's not going in.
I thought the craziest thing was the Bengals tied it with 3:27 to go in the game. And there were 3, they got 3 possessions. The Packers got 2 and the Bengals got 1 in 3 minutes and 27 seconds. 3 possessions in that amount of time. And it wasn't even like it was a 3 and out. Packers got 5 plays, 57 yards, a minute 15. Bengals had 9 plays, 35 yards, a minute 51. And then the Packers 3 plays, 20 yards, 21 seconds. But yeah, Crosby missed. Then McPherson misses. And then Crosby misses again to end regulation. Burrow, first play of overtime, picked off by Devondre Campbell. Packers are like, bro, we got this. This is game.
And then, boom.
Mason Crosby said, nah, bro, sorry. I want to play a little bit more. And then the funniest thing in the game, Bengals go down. They kick a field goal. And McPherson's like, yeah, buddy, we got it. Hit the flag. Like, bro, the flag does not count as in. And then Aaron Rodgers said, all right, boys, this is it. We're done. And it was funny. Aaron Rodgers post game, I don't know if you saw it. He said, for the final field goal, at first he asked our special teams coordinator, he's like, is he going to make it? And special teams coach said, yeah, he's going to make it. So Rodgers, for all the other field goal attempts, he had been down on the side that the field goal was. And for the game winner, he said he walked to the other end of the field. And he said, I guess that side had some mojo down there. So.
I do. Okay, don't get me wrong. You have to break down defenses. You have to do a lot of things at every position. But field goal kickers do have a very hard job. How many people in the world can kick a football in any condition through an upright?
It was a quintessential kicking is for losers game, though. There is a big movement on Twitter every time a kicker misses a kick that said we should not have kickers anymore. But it changes games. It changes games.
It's fun, though. And Cincinnati, if no one's ever been to Cincinnati, there's a river right there. It's colder. There's wind. I don't think Mason Crosby misses 3 in San Diego, if that makes sense. In SoFi Stadium, he doesn't miss 3 kicks.
He had made 27 straight field goals before.
Justin Tucker doesn't make a 66-yard field goal in Cincinnati. He makes it in Detroit. And that's not taking anything away from him because I can't do the damn thing. Excuse my language. But you're just not making that much yardage in Cincinnati, especially at the change of summer to fall.
All right. Defensively, Trey Hendrickson has been a great signing for Cincinnati from New Orleans this offseason. 4 tackles, 2 solos, 2 sacks, 2 tackles lost, 3 QB hits.
Von Bell, maybe he leads them in tackles and you can make fun of me, but 8 solo and 3 tackles for loss? Come on.
Also a signing from New Orleans.
And Stokes, let's not talk about the UGA. Love you, brother. Keep getting better.
Packers cover -2 under 50. That's the funny thing, too. They had 44 points at the end of regulation. Over bettors are probably like, bro, we're good. We got Rutgers in overtime, bro. He's going to score a touchdown. Come on. You thought only 47 points in this one. And also, it could have pushed, too. Had McPherson made
That's what I was waiting for. That's what I
but Burrow, had he not thrown an interception, then McPherson kicks a field goal. But because he threw that interception, it would have been game for Crosby, so they couldn't have pushed realistically anyways. But anyways, let's go to other NFC North teams. Vikings walking it off. Greg Joseph, game winner, 49 yards, I believe it was. Just to check, 54. I was 5 yards off. 54-yard game winner from Greg Joseph at the end of regulation, 1917. Vikes win. And I don't understand how the Vikings didn't run away with this game. For one, because the Lions suck. But for two, they were up 13-6 at half, up 16-6 with 4.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. And when they were up 16-6, I wrote down in my binder that I keep track of the division records every week. I was like, all right, Vikings 2-3, Lions 0-5, wrote down their division and conference records. And then I see this crap happens, and I'm like, are you kidding me? And this game pissed me off for one. The biggest thing that pissed me off this game, I lost an anytime touchdown parlay. Devontae Adams, Alvin Kamara, forget the other one. Fourth one, the one that I lost? Jefferson.
Oh, yeah.
He goes for 7 for 124 and he doesn't score? Are you kidding me, dude?
Well, I was thinking about this game when we were talking about picks, and I said, division, I do see glimpses. Like, no one can argue that you don't see glimpses of the Lions being a decent team at times. But I still think the Vikings are really the best bad team. Does that make sense? Like, you don't have Cook on here, but you have another 100-yard rusher. And, okay, they're always going to throw a lot with Kirk Cousins. And is he going to turn it over or not turn it over? And then they traded away a bunch of their defensive team. So you're left with this Vikings team that's like, they're not bad, but they're not good.
Front seven.
And you're going to get that all season long.
The Lions are the spirit animal of their head coach. Really.
Yeah.
Every single week you can see the amount of work that Dan Campbell puts into his team. And, I mean, you saw it on his post-game press conference. So, I mean, when do you ever see a head coach that just went to 0-5 and lost by 2 points cry at the post-game press conference? Rarely do you ever see that. And I think that just, like a lot of people say, that just shows how much Dan Campbell cares and how much his team actually fights for him. And what's crazy about it is his first year. I mean, he's never been head coach. This is his first time. And that's how much the players have bought in. And unfortunately, I'm happy that the Lions keep losing because I do have a wager on them to lose or to win under 5 games. So for my wallet's sake, I'm sorry, Dan Campbell, but I hope you
lose under 5 games. And I do like Dan Campbell. I do.
I'm concerned with DeAndre Swift, his workload, not getting enough carries in my mind. Specifically, I'm talking about fantasy. He has been a PPR monster. That will get you a lot of points. But I hate the Jamal Williams split. DeAndre Swift should be a bell cow. That's why they brought Jamal Williams in, split the carries. So, anyways, for anyone that's watching that plays fantasy against me in a league, don't pick up Amon-Ra St. Brown. I want to pick him up this week. But yeah, okay. Defensively, let's go with Danielle Hunter. 4 tackles, 2 solos, sack plus 3 QB hits. You could also go with Griffin as well if you want. Lions. This was one of my best bets, y'all. I told you. Lions plus 10. They cover under 50. Best bets looked a lot better this week. I will say that. Bucks just railing the Dolphins in Tampa. Tommy boy, is he going to win the MVP at age 43?
The only way he wins the MVP at age 43 is because it's fucking rigged. Excuse my language. Josh Allen and Kyler Murray should be front runners, and they are the front runners. We expect this out of Tom Brady. We expect this with as much talent on your roster. No one expected Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals to be what they are.
You did. You put him in the playoffs.
I do. I told you guys that. I've been on their bandwagon. But this is what would drive me crazy, but would make mainstream podcasts. Tom Brady does it again at the age of 43. Stop it. Stop it. They put everyone around him to be this good. And I'm not taking anything away from him because he did look darn good. But for the first time in a lot of weeks, they had a decent run game. And you have Antonio Brown, the fastest person to 900 catches, y'all. You have Mike Evans. He's 7 feet tall, and he's a gangster. He's a gangster. It's not just because of Tom Brady. He's not MVP. I will boycott the motherfucking NFL if he is the MVP.
You know what I am loving right now is my future bet. My $20, my little $20 to match the Buffalo Bills and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Super Bowl 56 in Los Angeles for SoFi Stadium.
I think it's 100% gonna now. It's a course.
Absolutely loving that, and that would load my pockets with 500 big ones. Please, Lord.
It's not. Here's what I don't see the Buccaneers making the Super Bowl.
They will. Just wait.
If that happens, there's going to be some investigation that Roger Goodell has it out.
For one, they haven't played the Cardinals yet, but for two, they already beat the Cowboys, and they couldn't beat the Rams, but that was at LA. That wasn't in Tampa.
I'd love to see it.
Play the Bucs in Tampa in the playoffs, LA Rams. See how that goes for you.
I would love to see 2 cold weather teams. I'd love to see the Bills and Packers.
No, we don't need Aaron Rodgers. But yeah. AB, Mike Evans, both over 100. I mean, come on. 411 yards, 5 touchdowns for Tom Brady. No turnovers. Ridiculous. And he's looking like Lamar Jackson every week now. I mean, he's running the ball. This is back-to-back weeks, dude. He's had long runs. But anyway.
I will say this. The 2 things that came to fruition for me so far. I told you guys I was big on the Arizona Cardinals. And I told you I didn't think the Miami Dolphins.
Oh, my God. Okay. Well, Tua's been hurt. And Jacoby Brissett as the safest backup quarterback in the league sucks ass.
You need to get off. You need to get off the Tagovailoa, blah blah blah. Unless they're playing defense on Notre Dame.
All right. Well, when the Dolphins trade for Deshaun Watson at the trade deadline and they make the playoffs, let me know.
Okay, I am down. I'd love to see that.
How do we not have a video editor to cut these clips, dude? These are gold right now. I don't have time to do this crap to cut the video for that. I mean, that would get some views, though. I can tell you that.
It's just not unless the Dolphins get Deshaun Watson, this team is going down.
As long as they finish second in the AFC, it's all that matters to me. Yeah. Defensively, Jamel Dean for the Bucks, 5 tackles, 5 solos, 2 pass selections, and a pick. Bucks -11 covered over 48. Bucks almost by themselves. Saints beat the Washington football team 33-22 in DC.
I don't want to talk about this crap either.
Actually, it's not in DC, but FedEx Field, whatever. This game screwed me over too, especially if the Ravens win tonight. You know why? I had a teaser parlay, a 7.5 point teaser parlay, mind you, not even a regular 6-1. 7.5 points. Washington +10. They were covering the entire game until the last Kamara touchdown, and then they couldn't get any points after that. Jameis, this was a typical Jameis game, though.
His numbers are 50%. He has a bunch of touchdowns. I love Ron Rivera as a defensive coordinator, and I thought, you go the Giants. The Giants beat the Saints. Like the Saints are the
trash.
Up and down. They've had some injuries, but I thought that they would be able. I thought it was going to be a field goal game, and that's why I picked them as a dog. And
their secondary is terrible.
Here's the thing I need to look at differently. Instead of saying, okay, this coach is good at this, and can we game plan for that? Sometimes there's just too much talent on one team. And Alvin Kamara is one of the best backs, and now I get caught with my pants down picking Washington fucking football team with the stupidest name.
Jameis, though, again, like I said, this is a typical Jameis game. He had a freaking Hail Mary at halftime. Who makes Hail Marys except for Aaron Rodgers? Almost no. And he also had a wide open Deontay Harris for a 72-yard touchdown. So there's that. Offensively for Washington, Terry McLaurin didn't get enough. I mean, he did get 11 targets, which is his normal-ish workload, but only 4 for 46. That's how they lose. I still do like Taylor Heineke, though. Regardless of sub 50% completion, 248, and through 2 interceptions, I still like him. He's still young. He's got a lot of moxie.
He is.
And I still like him, though, even as a division rival for the Eagles, but that's fine. Defensively, Demario Davis, 8 tackles, 5 solos, sack, tuck floss, 3 QB hits. Ioannidis and Allen both had 3 QB hits as well for Washington's defensive line, so they tried to help the secondary anyways. Saints covered -2.5 over 44. AFC South Titans are destroying the Jags, 37-19. And this is a good game. Good game for Trevor Lawrence. He only threw 1 interception. And James Robinson continues to be pretty much the offense for Jacksonville. I mean, he's running the ball very well. Granted, the Tennessee defense is not that great, but the King, 3 more touchdowns for the King in this one. Unstoppable. And I knew he was going to do that. That's why I had him to score a touchdown this weekend, because Derrick Henry loves playing the Jaguars. He has killed them every time he's played them.
Division foe, just knows what to do.
And it didn't start very pretty. He was having struggles in the first half. And then it's that wear down effect. You just keep pounding them, keep pounding. And then finally he breaks loose. I was very happy. Dan Arnold, I'm putting in waiver claims for Dan Arnold this week as well, because, DJ Chark's out with his ankle, might not return this year. Not very sold on Marvin Jones. But Dan Arnold, only his second game, I believe it was, with the Jags after the trade from Carolina, leads the game in receiving yards, which is ridiculous considering, you got A.J. Brown on the other side. So, yeah, I like Dan Arnold's game in this one. Did turn it over. But also intriguing, I already mentioned A.J. Brown, but Marcus Johnson led the Titans in receiving. Not A.J. Brown. It's a really weird game passing for the Titans. But
my question is, we have some 0-5 teams. We know the off-field shenanigans of one team compared to another. Who wins their first game?
Comes down to schedules, and I don't have them in front of me right now.
I would say the same thing. We'll talk about it later, but that's what I would say. And I'm curious to see
the Lions.
Does Urban Meyer finish this season, or is it one season? I would like to keep track of that too.
No, just like Jimbo, they're paying Urban too much to fire him after this year.
I like it.
Yeah, defensively, a lot of really great performances. I mean, look at the stat sheets they loaded up in this one. Kevin Byard, though, he's considered one of the best safeties in the league. 10 tackles, 8 solos, 2 pass deflections, a pick, and a 30-yard fumble return for a touchdown. Take your pick, Mark. You got a lot of choices.
There's too many. I have to go Kevin Byard.
I thought you were going to keep with the winning team. I thought you were going to go the guy below him, Harold Landry, 2 sacks, 2 tackles lost, 3 QB hits.
Well, I mean, that's a winning team. 10 tackles, 2 pass deflections, 1 interception, 1 fumble recovery, 1 touchdown. I
already said him, though.
I know, but I like to be an antagonist, but in a game like this, you can't get better than that. That's what I want.
Titans covered -4, a hit on that one, and over 49.
Next up,
Patriots. Close one in Houston, 25-22. What a day for Davis Mills. What a day.
Thank you. Someone outplayed another quarterback, in my opinion.
Davis Mills was the best rookie quarterback of week 5.
I agree. I would love to go against you, and I hated seeing the stat that they posted, like Belichick's 11-1 or 11-0 or 10 or something against rookie quarterbacks, and that has nothing to do with this win, because Davis Mills outperformed everybody.
Yeah, running game for neither side was very good. Harris put the ball on the ground again. He is deep in Belichick's doghouse now. That's 2 fumbles this season so far for Harris. They did cost him the game against Miami, and then could have cost him the game here against Houston. But the play calling, I don't know who the offensive coordinator is for the Texans, but the play calling was spectacular in this game. I mean, to run the flea flicker and throw a touchdown, they had another deep throw that scored. And yeah, I thought it was very great play called for the Texans.
Tim Kelly is the OC.
Oh yeah, Chip's brother. Or no, Brian's brother. Brian's brother. It's Brian Kelly's brother. Yeah, my bad. Brian Kelly's brother. Yeah.
I know that the Patriots won. They're 2-3. I don't think that's a hard division outside of the Bills. I will say that right now. I think it's one of the most easiest ones, and the Bills should easily win that. I'm curious to see the trade that happened this year. I don't think Sonny Michel has gotten up to speed with maybe what my lookalike wants to do.
Well, he's a backup,
but in saying that, I think Sonny Michel would be the lead. I think he's better than what they have on their roster, and they traded him. That's still foreseeable because it's only week 5.
I'm waiting to see this week to see if they give the starting workload to Ramondre Stevenson or not.
Right.
Because he was by far the best rookie overall, not just offense or not just running backs. Best overall rookie in the preseason was Ramondre Stevenson. And like I said, with Harris fumbling the ball, big opportunity there for early down touches. The issue is with the New England offense, Bill likes to use multiple backs. That's why he has Brandon Bolden as the receiving back. So Ramondre is not going to be able to catch the ball, more than likely. So, yeah, I thought it was a good step for the Texans against a middle of the pack team. So, they get to play the Jags one more time this year. They already beat them. So maybe the Texans get 2 wins. I will say also, Hunter Henry's coming on for the Patriots now. He's finally starting to have that passing game impact that they signed him for. And granted, it was interesting because they signed Jonnu Smith to be the passing threat and not Hunter Henry.
Yeah.
I think it's going the opposite way right now. I don't think Jonnu's played that well. And I think Hunter Henry is the guy that's starting to emerge as the passing threat, which no offense, Patriots, but I think more people than not would say that Hunter Henry was the better tight end anyways. I think Hunter Henry's the more complete tight end than Jonnu is. So, but defensively, let's go with Matt Judon. Another fantastic. That was by far the best offseason in all the money spent for New England. Matt Judon has been lights out for New England this season. 4 tackles, 2 solos, 2 sacks, 2 tackles lost, and a QB hit. 3 QB hits. Texans covered +8 over 39. Bears, what a win in Vegas, 20-9.
My gosh.
I don't even chalk it up to the Bears winning. I chalk it up to the Raiders laying an egg. I can't give the Bears credit. I can't. Their defense I can, but not the offense. They ran the ball well. I did not expect Khalil Herbert to get 18 carries, the rookie from Oregon, or not Virginia Tech, not Oregon, Virginia Tech. But yeah, Raiders have a running game issue. They can't run the ball at all. They haven't been able to this whole entire year. And when they can't do that, and Derek Carr struggles, it doesn't go well. So
there's a lot of factors, and none of it is what maybe the media portrayed this week. That's a different discussion. A, it's slow starts. It's B, the running game that you talked about. And the third thing is, guess what Chicago did? Because I think their defense won this game 100%. Guess whose name is not on our stats? He's the third best, maybe the first best tight end now in the league. Darren Waller is not on these stats. And you're not going to win if he's not. It's going to open up, Josh Jacobs. I love Hunter Renfrow and his moxie that he has as an undersized route runner. And I mean, the quarterback play for Chicago is not going to get it done. That's not going to win you a Super Bowl unless your defense is It's better than the 85 Bears. But I will shout out a couple people. Roquan Smith, that is a great draft pick. He is a centerpiece like Urlacher. But I'll also shout out to the Las Vegas Raiders. Denzel Perryman was a good trade.
Yeah.
He really was a good trade. And you just have to figure it out. They have to – you see him win a tight game against Baltimore. You see him win against the Steelers. And they have capabilities of being a good team. But the only thing I worry about is consistency. Are you going to be 8-8 again or 9-8? Or are you going to jump that hump and at least be, 10-6?
Yeah, Roquan's the reason why Darren Waller's not on this list. Granted, he did catch 4 balls for 45 yards on 8 targets. But I still think I know Trayvon Diggs is doing Trayvon Diggs things in Dallas, which we'll talk about in a couple games. But I still think Roquan's up there. I think he has to be considered for Defensive Player of the Year. I think he's having that good of a season, even on a 3-2 team. But defensively, that's not who I'm going with. I'm going with Unique Ngakoue. Great signing from the Ravens this offseason. 3 tackles, 3 solos, 2 sacks, tackle for loss, and 2 QB hits. Bears plus 5.5, under 46. Lowest scoring game of the weekend. No, it was not, actually. I take that back.
Still was the ugliest game.
Forgot one crappy game coming up that I'll. This was not the lowest scoring game of the weekend, that's for sure. It's the highest scoring
game, and I felt sorry for you because I was like, his lone wolf is going to pay off, and it didn't.
I almost got all of my NFL lone wolves right. I only had 2 of them, but 47-42 Chargers in SoFi Stadium in LA. But it's okay. You know why? Because Justin Herbert put up 50 fantasy points this weekend and gave me a shot tonight with Jonathan Taylor and Mark Andrews. So thank you, Justin Herbert, for not turning the ball over and throwing for almost 400 yards, running for 29, and scoring 5 total touchdowns. But Baker Mayfield played well also. Don't want to discount his 300-yard performance, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers. Chubb and Hunt were outstanding once again. Eckler was good. I mean, everyone was good in this game, except the defenses.
The reason I picked against the Browns was the torn wasn't a torn labrum that was suspected in Baker Mayfield, which you could sometimes play through, or torn something
in his non-throwing shoulder, left shoulder.
Right. The Chargers coming off a big win. We saw what the Cowboys were capable of doing. I thought the Browns were the Browns since we saw them play the Chiefs, and they were going to figure it out. Well, they were up there almost the entire game. But then they pulled the Browns of the Browns. Like, that's the only way you can say it. They turned back into the Browns. And here's my take on it. I'm not going to tell you why they won or why they didn't. Austin Eckler is playing out of his mind, in my opinion, for the Chargers. And they are right now the team to beat in that division. I still think the Chiefs can turn this around. But what worries me about the Browns, and I have them as a playoff team, is you did go get Clowney. You do have Myles Garrett. You are supposed to get, Beckham back, even though after an injury. When are you going to all put it together? And it has nothing to do with history and sorcery and this and that. And so I went with the Chargers, but I wouldn't have been mad if the Browns won. But with this defense, how are you going to give up 47 points? How?
Yeah, it's I just like Texas. This game, I thought I had it.
and before we move on, let me tell you who the baddest. I'm not going to. I know you and I both use choice words. The baddest mofo right now on defense is Derwin James. He is a legitimate game changer, y'all. The dude is bad.
Well, Mike Williams is bad on offense. He is outplaying Keenan Allen, and he is lighting it up. Crazy. And you know why he's lighting it up, though? You know why? Because the contract year. That's exactly why. Mike Williams, I can almost bet. I'm not going to, but I can almost bet you that in 2022, regardless of whether Mike Williams is with LA or with someone else, if he gets paid, he will not have the type of season he's having this year.
Well, maybe that works out. You're right. Like Keenan, we know what Keenan's made of, and so Mike Allen is making up for it. Keenan Allen's a beast too. I think he's really underrated at that position.
Yeah, defensively, I know you said Derwin. I'm going with Myles Garrett though. My pick, not my pick for defensive player of the year, but I mentioned him in our conversation. 2 tackles, 2 solos, sack, tech for loss, pass deflection, and 3 quarterback hits. Chargers -2.5. They covered over 47. That's the thing too. I would have had the freaking cover. I would have had the cover. I would have got 1 point for my dog. Actually, I don't even know if that was my dog. I don't remember.
It was.
But I would have got at least 1 point.
We all lost our dog this week.
I would have got at least 1 freaking point because the Chargers didn't want to score. They were going to kick a field goal and win the game. 43-42, that covers +2. But no, Browns defense had to carry Dang Eckler into the end zone like they were carrying a baby.
They did. Oh, I love that analogy. I love that example. I love it.
Over 47, though. Chargers got it by themselves pretty much.
Kareem Hunt showing life after the Chiefs. All right.
Boys, blowing out the Giants in Dallas, 44-20. Daniel Jones goes out with concussion. And the Cowboys are rolling. Today was the day last season against the Giants in Dallas that Dak broke his ankle.
Yep.
And it's just night and day. I mean, it's ridiculous. The thing is, I don't put it all on Dak. They're running the ball outstandingly well right now. And that's setting Dak up nicely in the passing game.
Okay. Where do you want to start? Because they haven't been good. They haven't been good in the past, which to me brings up the 2 things that I don't think people are going to talk about enough. Because I do, after this, I will touch on the offense. We were all high on Micah Parsons and pick him for our defensive rookie of the year, and he should be right now. However, Trayvon Diggs has an interception in every game this season, I believe, for a total of 6 in 5 games.
Yep.
And that is huge. That is huge. They're talking about Nick Saban coming to him and saying, I don't want you to play wide receiver. And he almost quit football and reached out to Stephon Diggs and said, trust what Nick Saban has to say and look at him. Now, going into the season, I was never worried about the offense. I actually thought the 2 best offenses in the National Football League, in my opinion, we didn't talk about it. I either thought it was going to be the Cowboys or the Browns. And then after that, it would be Chiefs, Bills, Ravens, whatever you want to put it. But this offense, CeeDee Lamb, then it's Amari Cooper, then it's Ezekiel Elliott, then it's why am I drawing blank on everybody that's mad that Zeke didn't have great games the first few games. I just think they were so dynamic, and I sent you guys a text message after the Panthers game saying I'm on this train. I'm on DeMarcus Spears' train. They have a chance at it all. Have a chance, not my Super Bowl picks, but have a chance.
Yeah, they're going to easily win the NFC East, and that's coming from an Eagles fan. But it's fine. It's fine that they win the NFC East. That's okay. You know why? Because they're going to be the Cowboys in the playoffs. And
yeah.
They're going to lose to the Tampa Bay Bucks, like they already did once. Whether that's in the divisional round wild card, the Bucks are the number 1 seed, so they're not gonna be in the wild card round. But whether that's divisional round or the championship game, it's fine. Not worried about it. But Kadarius Toney had himself a good day until
Oh, yeah.
until he was a dumbass at the end of the game and punched a Cowboy with the helmet on. It's so fun. I was surprised the announcers didn't say anything about that. Usually they do. Usually they're like, "You're so stupid." Like, what?
They do. Like, what's that going to accomplish when someone has a helmet on?
It's going to break your hand. That's what it's going to accomplish. Like, freaking idiot. But yeah, defensively, yeah, Trayvon Diggs, I mean, monster. Anthony Brown did have a pick 6 though as well. Just saying. Cowboys -7 covered over 53. Cardinals 5-0, 17-10 win in Arizona over division rival 49ers. This game pissed me off, Mark. I live bet Cardinals -7.5. They were up. What was it? 17 to 7. I think it was 17 to, yeah, they were up 17 to 7. I think I bet it when they were up 10 to 3. And then I don't know. Or no, yeah, they were up 10 to 7. And that was, I bet it when they were up 17 to 7. So I was like, bro, they got this. And yeah, then they let them just roll down the field, like, yeah. Roll down the freaking field and let them kick a field goal. I couldn't believe that they didn't have enough offense to cover 7.5 points against the friggin' Niners after they had been scoring like 38 points per game.
When I was picking games, this was almost a dog as an outright dog because I think each division, the more you play in it, gets tougher. But I said, no, I've been wrong with the Cardinals. I don't think they're going to go undefeated by any means. But everybody thought I was crazy for being on the bandwagon at the front of the year. And what I liked about this game, it was ugly. It was a division foe. They found a way to win. And guess whose name is on here that hasn't been on for a long time? Mr. J.J. Watt. 3 tackles, 3 solos, 2 tackles for loss, 1 pass deflection, 3 quarterback hits.
A key pass deflection.
Yep.
That led to the freaking field goal.
And the only reason that I actually picked the Cardinals in this game is mobile quarterback. I think Kyler Murray gives coaches fits and can extend a game or extend a play, and he did just enough. And I think, Trey Lance didn't have a terrible game, but he didn't have a great game, and so that leaves you as if you are a 49ers fan, like, what does the future look like? What does this season look like?
Yeah.
Nick Bosa's stupid.
Kyler Murray's got an arm injury right now. I'll have to check that out. I know he was hampered in the fourth quarter, but DeAndre Hopkins still DeAndre Hopkins. Defensively, yeah. I'm going with the Niners, though. I'm going Nick Bosa. Sacks lost 2 QB hits.
He's a beast. Gosh.
Cardinals -5.5 did cover under 49. See, I didn't get him at 5.5 though. I got him at 7.5 during the game. For a freaking team scoring 38 points. Okay, here we go. Who lone wolfed? Oh, this guy. Yes, dude. Josh Allen balling out. 38-20 over the Chiefs in Arrowhead. No turnovers, 4 total touchdowns for Joshy. and it was pouring. Did not matter. He ran the ball very effectively as well. Him and Mahomes actually led both teams in rushing.
Best performance of the weekend, hands down. Anybody want to argue with me? You can go catch the bus that's going to nowhere land. Josh Allen's performance. I told you before we got on our podcast briefly, why did I pick the Chiefs? I just thought sometimes you have to pick teams. I told you, I thought the Bills are a 10 times better team. The point differential, can have all these stats. And that's what all these podcasts and ESPN and FS1 and whoever wants to throw at you. But sometimes you have to pick a team that is up against the wall and you think needs a win. And I thought the Chiefs needed that. And it didn't come through. So it helps me and Chris, even though we picked the Chiefs, that Josh Allen we picked as the MVP. But KC's got some issues. Everybody wants to talk about the defensive side of the ball because that's glaring. But Patrick Mahomes is going to shoulder everything without a running game. And when I say shoulder everything, that's make a play on your feet. That means make a whiz play with your arm. That makes the real play that you're supposed to. They're counting on him to doing everything, and everybody in his division is now picking up on it, and he can't do it. He's not. There is no such thing in the world as Superman, even though he's looked like it. He's got kryptonite.
Yeah, 3 things with the Chiefs. Before I get to that, Monday Night Football has kicked off. Ravens get the ball first. But 3 things with the Chiefs. First off, they don't have a running game. And that goes into the second point where 5 new starters essentially on the offensive line. I think there's 5. It might only be 4. But
I think it's 5.
Yeah, I mean, it's a brand new offensive line. They're only 5 games into the season. They haven't gelled enough, haven't played enough together. And third, I think people have figured out Mahomes and the Andy Reid's scheme overall. I mean, like you kind of said earlier, it's Hill and Kelsey. Who else is going to get open? Mecole was the leading receiver for the Chiefs in this one.
I didn't find the end zone.
But wow, the Colts got a stop on. That's not good.
Yeah.
I have Lamar Jackson first touchdown, dude. Like, come on. But yeah, I was disappointed by Travis Kelce's output. Luckily, his night got saved by the touchdown. Yeah, I don't know. I was happy to win.
If you and I did power rankings, maybe that's something we do on that all 3 of us do on some podcasts to change things up. I actually put the Bills in the 1 slot. I mean, they are absolutely annihilating people. The point differential, the way that, Josh Allen rolls out to the right, waves people down, throws just a dime. I put them above the Arizona Cardinals right now.
Yeah. And the defensive masterpiece for Leslie Frazier last night was amazing. Cover 2 all night. Cover 2. It's all they did.
You have 2 coaches that have been DCs and head coaches, and I think that's also an advantage on your coaching staff. Leslie Frazier, with the right talent, isn't a bad head coach.
4-man rush, cover 2, and they blitzed on 1 out of 63 defensive snaps last night. That's it. We talked about other guys for defensive rookie of the year. Greg Rousseau is another guy we have to keep into consideration. He's having himself a heck of a season in Buffalo.
Playing lights out.
Sack for loss, pass flexion, quarterback hit, and a pick. And then all that one of his other teammates did was just, Micah Hyde, one of the best safeties in the league, if not the best. Pick 6, 26 yards to the house. So
this is not like tooting Mahomes' horn or making any downgrade to the Buffalo Bills. but I've said this last season, and I'm going to say it again. The NFL has to change their statistics. One of Mahomes' interceptions should not count against him. You hit your receiver running across the field with both hands, and he's one of the best receivers, and someone intercepts it, that shouldn't necessarily be your turnover.
Okay. Bills covered +3 over 57. Dude, catch the ball, Jonathan Taylor. I need those fantasy points.
I knew that was coming. I
need the freaking points. All right, NFL news. Let's roll. Got to get to this game. NFLPA's Board of Reps, they voted to retain Executive Director DeMaurice Smith for another term. Could be as little as just next season. He received only the minimum of 22 votes out of the 32 player reps. 8 voted against him and 2 abstained. So yeah, DeMaurice Smith continues to be the executive director of the NFLPA. That's what I like to freaking see. Of course, Jonathan Taylor's taking it to the house. Tackle him. Oh, good Lord. That's a lot of fantasy points. That's not good for Ravens -7 or Lamar Jackson first touchdown. However, unfortunately. Love the fantasy points, though. Great times. Okay. The NFL is getting closer to playing games in Germany.
Where?
In Germany. As the league will announce, it's 3 finalist cities tomorrow. So I would assume Frankfurt will be one, considering they have the Frankfurt Galaxy already playing American football in the European League of Football, I believe it's called. They used to have NFL Europe. That's where the Frankfurt Galaxy come from. But I'm not sure what the other 2 cities would be. So
Frankfurt is a pretty cool city. That's all I'm going to say.
I would assume Berlin would be one.
Yep. Capital.
But I just don't know where they have stadiums. I know they have one in Frankfurt. I don't know where the other stadiums are. The Dolphins, I already kind of mentioned this, but the Dolphins, they are still interested in Texans quarterback Deshaun Watson. Texans price is still way too high, astronomically high. So what to see? Trade deadline coming up in, I believe it's like 4 weeks, something like that. I don't know the exact date. I think it's the second week in November or something like that. So
I just wonder if they're going to bring down that price ever.
I mean, I wouldn't. Why? Why would you?
If he can play, he's really good.
The Bengals, they placed offensive lineman Jackson Carman and running back Samaje Perine on the COVID list. The Seahawks, they activated tight end Gerald Everett from the COVID list. The Ravens they activated wide receiver Miles Boykin for tonight's game from the IR. So he should be playing right now. All right, injuries, boatload of them. Browns, offensive lineman Chris Hubbard. He is going to have season-ending tricep surgery done for the year. Seahawks quarterback Russell Wilson, he had surgery on his middle finger. He's going to be out 4 to 8 weeks, targeting a Week 10 return. Had 3 pins put into his middle finger, characterized as or described as a mallet finger. So do it that way you will. The Bears, they placed running back David Montgomery on IR. He's out about 3 to 5 weeks with his knee injury. Packers, they placed corner Jair Alexander on IR. He has a shoulder injury. Hoping he can just rehab and put off surgery. The Niners, they placed tight end George Kittle on IR. He has a calf injury, should just be out the minimum 3 games. Raiders, they placed tight end Derek Carrier on IR. He has a torn pec. He is done for the year. Patriots, they placed offensive tackle Trent Brown on IR. Broncos did the same with tight end Albert Owugbunam. He has a hamstring injury. Bears, they placed linebacker Danny Trevathan on IR. Or no, they activated him from IR. I got in the habit of just saying they were putting people on IR. Activated Danny Trevathan from IR. Broncos did the same with corner Ronald Darby. And injuries from yesterday's games. The Bengals, quarterback Joe Burrow, he went to the hospital after the game. He had a throat contusion.
One of two.
Still don't know what that looks like, but that's what we like to see. Mark Andrews was weird because the Browns linebacker Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, he also had a throat contusion.
That is rare that you have two in 1 week.
Giants running back Saquon Barkley, he has a low ankle sprain, hopes to miss just this week coming up. Also with the Giants wide receiver Kenny Golladay, he hyperextended his knee yesterday. Is going to miss this week, but should be just 1 to 2 week injury there for Kenny Golladay. Chargers offensive lineman Oday Abalshi, he tore his ACL. He is done for the year. Steelers wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster, he is also done for the year. He's going to have shoulder surgery this week. They're gonna do a reduction on his shoulder after he dislocated it, which the dislocation often leads to a labral tear. So that's why they're doing a reduction. Don't ask me what a reduction is because I don't know. That's too medical for me. And he should be out about 4 months. So realistically, the season. Chiefs guard Joe Tooney, he has a fractured hand, injured in the first quarter, but played the rest of the game. They just put a cast on it. Oh, yeah, Mark Andrews caught the ball. Let's go, baby. Cardinals tight end Max Williams, feared to have suffered a season-ending knee injury. Would be a pretty big blow for the Cardinals. Not a pretty big blow, but he was having a really good year for the Cards. Oh, my God, an incomplete pass. Dang it. Bucks quarterback Tom Brady, he's dealing with a thumb injury, but he should be good to go for Thursday Night Football. Bengals, I already said that one. Joe Burrow is okay after his throat contusion. The Bucks linebacker Levante David, he has a low ankle sprain. He's going to be out for Thursday Night Football and is week to week. Lions wide receiver Quintez Cephas, he broke his collarbone this weekend. He is most likely done for the year. Texans left tackle Laramie Tunsil, he has a torn UCL, ulnar collateral ligament, if I am right.
Yep.
In his thumb. He's going to try to play through it for the rest of the season without having surgery, and then have surgery in the offseason. But we'll see if he can or not. Chiefs running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he has an MCL sprain. He's going to be out a few weeks. Wide receiver Tyreek Hill, he has a minor knee injury, isn't expected to miss any games. Patriots running back Damian Harris, he is okay after having rib and chest injuries, but is considered day-to-day. Rookie quarterback news. Bears quarterback Justin Fields, he hyperextended his knee during the game against the Raiders, but he is going to be good to go. And then biggest news, I think, of the day, really, Niners quarterback Trey Lance, he is going to miss 1 to 2 weeks with a sprained left knee. Now, Niners are on a bye this week, but the week after that, if Lance misses, I think Jimmy G's good to go now. I believe he's back from his injury. So possibly we could have Jimmy G starting again in 2 weeks.
But that maybe quells some of the 49er fans, that are like the Bears fans. Let's stop having this conversation, move on from one quarterback to our new one.
That's funny because Dalton played it for the Bears this week. when Fields went out for a couple plays too. Couple of guys hoping to play this week. Panthers head coach Matt Rule said he hopes that Christian McCaffrey will play this weekend.
I would hope so.
The Bucks tight end Rob Gronkowski, he's close to returning and could be back on Thursday Night Football. The two more things here. The Bills, they signed corner Teron Johnson to a 3-year, $24 million extension, $14 million guaranteed. Really great signing by them. I mean, he signs that and then he goes out on national television on Sunday Night Football and balls out. I mean, great signing by Buffalo. And I mean, Brandon Beane is just a monster at the GM's position. And then finally, the Steelers, they are bringing in wide receiver Anthony Miller for a physical tomorrow with the Juju injury, trying to bolster wide receiver depth. Look, I just got the sport management email from Georgia asking for game day volunteers. I'm coming, Mark. I'm coming down.
Hey, you got a bed.
If I only had the money. If I could just teleport there, that'd be fine. I just got to build a teleportation device.
I am working on
All right,
Tesla owner and I are working on it. What's his name?
That's all the NFL news. I cannot believe the Colts defense has stopped the Ravens twice, 3 and out. That's no bueno. I need points from Mark Andrews. But if Carson Wentz want to keep throwing the ball to Jonathan Taylor, that's fine. That's a point per reception. We'd love to see that. I need all the points I can get from Jonathan Taylor and Mark Andrews tonight. Granted, Mark Andrews not as much because I'm playing him. I'm playing Chris in our Dynasty League, and he has Mark Andrews and Justin Tucker versus Jonathan Taylor, and I'm up by 4 points to start the night. I'm sure I'm up a lot more now because of a 76-yard touchdown reception for Jonathan Taylor on the third play of the game. But, oh, my God, dude, they are feeding. They are absolutely feeding Jonathan Taylor right now. But anyways, pick standings. I'm still one back. I know. I picked the Eagles last week on Monday Night Football. That's fine. Or not last week, 2 weeks ago. But, yeah, we went 2-0 again. We picked who did we pick? We picked the Chargers on Monday night, and we picked the Rams on Thursday night.
Those LA teams, yep.
So, yeah. Let's see if we can get one. We're not looking good right now. This is not looking good at all. And the Colts are dominating the Ravens right now. Absolutely dominating. They're running it at will. They're throwing it at will.
And that's exactly the opposite. We all know how well the Ravens run the ball, and so that's why I went with them. I keep talking about this intuition, right? That's one thing I don't like about being someone that picks, because my gut will tell me something and then stats will tell me something. And I went with the stats in Monday Night Football, and I just thought that the Ravens would push around, get creative with Lamar Jackson. And I thought the Colts won last week against the Dolphins because of how bad the Dolphins offense is. But maybe this is the pivotal moment in the Colts season, since we have it on in the background, where they turn around their season, right? And it's not a tough division down there. Like, they're going to be competing with the Titans, right? It's them and the Titans.
And what if this is Carson Wentz? Revitalization of Carson Wentz right now. I mean, that throw that he just made on the sideline to Zach Pascal was great. Or Ashton Dulene. Wow. Malone University. Look at that. I don't even know where the heck that is.
If the Ravens do lose, this only solidifies the Bills, I think, as a juggernaut with everything else that's going on.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I'm fine with having the Ravens lose. That loses me money, unfortunately. But it's good for the Steelers. they're only if the Ravens lose, the Steelers are 1 game back. I mean, Bengals Browns already lost this weekend. So, all right. Actually, before we get to the Thursday night game, though, we do have 3 games in between our shows for college football this week. One is tomorrow. There's a college football game tomorrow night. Tuesday night football. It is a Sun Belt matchup. Appalachian State 4-1. They are 3-point favorites at Louisiana. It's a big game too.
That's a big game to have on a Tuesday.
4-1 against 4-1.
I don't agree with that. I understand they're not Power Fives, but that is 2 fun football teams to watch with both great college towns, by the way.
It's Chase Bryce versus Levi Lewis. What a quarterback matchup. 7:30 p.m. at ESPN2 tomorrow night. I'll be watching it while I'm grinding at the law school. Also, 2 Thursday night college games here. Your Navy midshipmen, Mark. 1-4. They are at Memphis, who are 3-3. 8.5-point favorites are the Tigers of Memphis. Over-under is 53. Forgot to say over-under 55 for the App State Louisiana game. Over-under 53 for the Navy Memphis game. 7:30 ESPN on Thursday night. The other college game, Georgia Southern 2-4 at South Alabama, who is 3-2. The South Alabama Jags getting 3 points, and the over-under is 50 in that one. 7:30 ESPNU.
Rebound game for South Alabama.
Yes. Thursday night football, Buccaneers 4-1, 7-point favorites in Philadelphia at the Link. Eagles are coming off a big win over the Panthers. And that's why I'm picking the Bucs. Because like I told you pre-show, I was banking on the Eagles to lose to the Panthers, and then this game on a Thursday night short week would be the one that they get, the one that they trap Tom Brady. I just think now they already have that win. They don't need a win now.
What
just demolish the Dolphins.
What did I tell you about my intuition? Something about the Eagles. They look just don't mess with them. Not a great team, but don't mess with them. Versus stats. And so I went back with the stats. I went back with the eye test and the Buccaneers passes. So I picked it. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles win 31-30, 28-27, or they at least cover. I do believe the Buccaneers are the best, better team, not the best, better team. They have a lot more weapons. But the Eagles, what if they find their groove? And when we're talking about it in week 14, Cowboys and Eagles right there, jockeying for position.
What I will say is, what if the fans bring the masks back out?
Oh, man.
The underdog mentality, I don't think will be any bigger than it will be in this game.
Especially
because they're playing Brady.
Screw coming to Athens. We're meeting in Philly, baby.
And
we're having cheesesteaks, and I'm buying us tickets, and we're meeting there on Thursday.
The issue is that Brandon Graham's not playing this game. If Brandon Graham was playing this game, I probably would have picked the Eagles. Because of the strip sack in Super Bowl 52, Brandon Graham of Tom Brady, that changed the game. That would have been different. Unfortunately, Graham's out for the year, torn Achilles. But, I think the Bucs are going to win. And Eagles defense just won't have any answers for the weapons. Especially, if Gronk's coming back too, I mean, come on.
I think AB and Leonard Fournette are the 2 keys in this game.
I don't know. Eagles have a really good run defense. I know they gave up 100 yards to Chuba Hubbard, but
that's what I'm
highly of their run defense, though.
I think how much can the run game get going to set up AB or Mike Evans or whoever you want to throw it at, because they have 100 effing receivers.
That was an offsides, but it looks like they're going to get turnover. Wow. That was by far offsides, but okay, whatever. Cool. Over under for this one is 53. Forgot to say tonight's game over under is 46, very low. 8:15 it's going on right now on ESPN. Thursday night over under is 53. I will be on a booze cruise. I'll be on a boat for this game. And it's semi-formal, so I won't be able to wear my Eagles stuff. I think I'll have some sort of Eagles thing on. I don't know. I don't have an Eagles suit, unfortunately. I wasn't going to go with the tie, but maybe I go with the green tie. I don't know. Over under 53, 820 on Fox and NFL Network. I'm hoping I'll be able to watch it. I might have to stream it though. Next week, week 6, we will be recapping all the games. Mark, we will not take freaking 4 hours next week. This always happens with you and I. We get talkative. Exactly why we need a video editor to cut this stuff out. Put only the important pieces on social media. But I don't have money to pay people, and I don't know enough people that are video editors. So
I have to look to become an expert.
Yeah, there you go. But anyways, next week we will be previewing the Monday night football game, Bills at Titans, and the Thursday night game, Broncos at the Cleveland Browns.
Both interesting.
Don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcast on Instagram and Twitter. FAApodcast.com is our website. Check us out here on YouTube, Facebook as well, and all of our podcast listening mediums, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. I think they're on a couple other ones too. I don't know where we're at. But anyways, that's our show for today. Thank you, Mark, and we will see you for Football Friday.